Eagles. Eagles.
Welcome in, everybody, to a Tuesday edition of Birds 365 here on JAKIB Sports. I'm your host, Zander Krause. That's my co-host, John McMullen, here for another day, recapping the Eagles' their loss on Sunday and their upcoming game on Thursday.
Johnny not Mack, used to that. Not used to that.
I'm completely not used to saying a loss. How you doing this morning, J Mac? A Tuesday morning too.
Doing well. Since maybe we have to have an hours long meeting to discuss how to handle a loss over a win. What a bunch of drama queens! My God, everybody loses in the NFL. Don't make it more than it is, and they're making it more than it is. That's my quick take on the meeting.
Yeah, I kind of agree, to be honest with you. But before we get real quick, I just want to tell everybody. So there was a report yesterday, late yesterday. I think it was like 7 or 8 p.m. in the middle of that Phillies game. And Jimmy Kempski put up that A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Saquon Barkley got together for a lengthy meeting and had some, what did he call it, difficult or productive conversations together.
Positive
conversations. Okay. So that's what they had.
It's good that AJ and Jalen are talking. That's good.
Yeah.
That's positive. Yeah. I mean, come on, guys. You lost the game. My God, what happens if they lose to the New York Giants, which probably isn't going to happen, but could you imagine? What are we gonna rip down the whole organization and rebuild it? You lost the game. You had a bad plan. You lost the game, and you still should have won it, probably. Boy, what an overreaction. I mean, if you keep acting like this, it's going to be a self-fulfilling prophecy of going off the rails. Should have been business as usual. Say, fix it. And I don't want to blame the coaching staff for 44 freaking dropbacks versus 9 run plays in a game that you were leading for the vast majority of the game. So, I was talking about run pass ratio. Tell me what the score is in the game, and I'll tell you run pass ratio. Well, that works 99% of the time. You saw the time it didn't work this week because they were trying to acquiesce, whether it was, and people get bogged down in the semantics. Because I said outside voices. Oh, it's inside voices. I don't give a shit. Don't get bogged down in bullshit. The point is they tried to acquiesce somebody.
Right. I agree with that. What do you make of this meeting, though? I mean, because I will say the offense hasn't been good this year. I put out yesterday, I think we've overreacted to we had one loss. I don't know how to act. Nobody knows how to act in this city when we lose anymore, which is pretty hilarious. But, I don't think there's a big.
That's why I got massive depression with the Phillies. Hopefully Jeff Kerr's here.
Yeah, we'll see if Jeff shows up after the Phillies lose. But I don't know, John. I mean, we got the Vikings, the Giants, the Giants coming up. I mean, we got an easy chance to right the ship here, get the 7-1, go into the bye week. Now, from that perspective, I think we've overreacted. But from the player meeting perspective, they have been a really bad offense this year. Let's be real. I mean, I think they're bottom 5 in like most big categories.
Oh yeah, they stink. They
stink. So if they stink, I mean, is that good that you have 3 big offensive players like that?
No, because because I think it shows a prima donna attitude because it's the superstars again putting themselves apart, and the real superstar in this team, and I think it's evident, is the offensive line. And until the offensive line gets healthy and gets cooking. And then everybody's like, oh, Jalen's making plays. AJ's making plays. Saquon's like, it's those guys. It's Lane, it's Jordan, it's Landon, it's Cam, Tyler as well this year. That to me, this start is shown because they've been banged up and they haven't played as well as the standard we're used to. And that to me is the biggest part of it. And they're not even involved in the meeting because they don't have the big egos and they're not. It's just.
But is it the stars getting together or is it the leader? The guys with C's on their chest. All 3 of those guys wear a captain badge.
Well, so does Jordan. So does So does Jake Elliott. Are you bringing him in? So is Reed Blankenship. So is Reed Blankenship. You bringing him in?
All right. So was it about the offense or was it about the relationship
It's
between
obviously
Jalen?
about the offense, and it's about acquiescing and
You don't
getting
think it was about the
everybody.
relationship? There's been a lot made of that relationship, John.
Well,
AJ, Jalen. I mean, you've heard it all for months. They've been years.
I mean, I don't care as much about the relationship and the gossip. Again, to me, work relationship, fine, that's okay. I don't have a need for them to be going to dinner and meeting outside the building. I thought that was one of the silliest questions. Um, you know, go home to your family, go home to your kids. I have no problem with that after spending 12, 14 hours at the NovaCare complex. I don't want to go out with, and some people do, younger people, they want to go out, but whatever. I think that's just different stages of life. I don't care about that stuff. What I care about is, and again, that was the report. It's Jalen Hurts, it's Saquon Barkley, it's AJ Brown. All right, why not bring in Jordan Mailata if you used the captain route? Why not bring him in? The real captain of the whole team might be Lane Johnson. Why not bring him in?
Well, that's why I think it was more about the relationship, because if it's more about the offense, you're bringing those guys. And at least in my opinion, if you have an issue between star one and Jalen and star two and AJ, and their relationship has
I
gotten
think
to a
that's
point
the
where,
way it's projected.
I mean, has that been?
Saquon.
Here's my problem, because I agree with you. I don't really give a shit about their personal relationship, nor am I going to comment on it, because I have no idea what they think of one another. All I know is that they were buddy in the past. I don't know if they still are. It doesn't seem like they still are. I think it's affected the field now, John. I think it's starting to affect the
But
product in the field.
I guess I look at it. So I think a lot of people are taking it as Saquon brokered the
Yeah,
the detente,
the mediator.
the detente, like it's a Russia cruise ship. you know, I can't take it seriously. You know, Saquon coming off his Raising Cane's commercial or his Beats commercial to come in and play Dr. Phil to two guys who once had a close relationship and maybe to. I mean, really? Is that what we're talking about? Just, block. Nick says it all the time. All his bullshit block destruction, get out, just go out there and play like you're capable of playing. And then everything is fixed. Everything is copacetic. Now, in the instance with the deep shot that everybody can't stop talking about, if you're not on the same page for whatever reason, whatever your favorite category is, be nice if you could talk on the field to fix communication issues. So maybe that's something. But again, that's got to be the head coach. Not, Saquon's got to worry about his own production in getting back to his level. And I think it all relates to the offensive line, because that's the true strength of the team. But everybody's obsessed with the playmakers because those are the big stars. But to me, the offensive line is what hummed last year and the reason why they were so great. And it's not this year for a host of reasons, mainly injury related, to be honest. But I think that, and don't make it, but my main takeaway is don't make it bigger than it is. And you're making it bigger than it is.
Well,
right
no, we're not. I'm not. I don't think we're making.
No,
it
I'm
bigger
saying
than
they
it
are.
is.
They
But
are. I'm not saying
wait,
you.
this is where I disagree with you. Don't you think it's a good thing to get? I mean, if you do have an issue, all right, whether it be personal or it be the bottom five offense in football right now, don't you believe that coming together as leaders of the team to get on the same page, if they haven't been able to do that prior, is at the very least a productive or positive development in trying to get to the standard that they've set?
Sure, it's a positive, that's how Jimmy phrased it. So I'll use that word. It was a positive meeting. Good. It's better than
too, John.
It's better than a negative meeting, I guess. So from that standpoint, but my overriding thought is you're making too much of one loss. And by the way, you had a chance to win the game with a Hail Mary. It's like you're making it out to be more than it is. You've been playing on the edge, and the edge bit you. all right, stop playing on the edge as much. Start being a little bit more. And again, ultimately, I blame that loss. And I don't often blame losses on coaching staffs because, I'm a big talent first guy. So I'm always going to look at the players, whether they're successful or fail. I'm always going to look at them first because they're the guys on the field performing. And they're much, 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 much more important. But again, when you have that kind of disparity in a game where you shouldn't have that kind of disparity from the circumstance of the game, it's not a shootout. It's not 38-35 where you can't just sit and run. You're not down 2 touchdowns. You're up 2 touchdowns. And when it first came out, Saquon Barkley, they didn't practice, but it's an estimation. So he was on the practice reports as a DNP, which is again an estimation with a knee injury. And I'm thinking, wow, well, because I thought he got hurt in Tampa, if you remember that play.
Yeah.
He was
he got a little banged up on that one play on Sunday too.
I didn't see as much on Sunday, but
there was just one play where he got up, and then I think he missed the series.
Well, I think it was related to that injury in Tampa.
Yeah, it might have
been. Yeah, which I still think was a little bit more serious than they let on. But I inquired about it, and they said general soreness. He's on track to play, so we'll see. But obviously, and you're going to manage guys through a short week in general, and you don't practice anyway. They're having a walkthrough today and a walkthrough Wednesday, so they have no real practices during these Thursday weeks. These Thursday weeks are insane with the NFL, but that's a different discussion.
They really are. I don't even know why the NFL does it. I don't even think they're that great from
a money.
But somebody, but
Amazon's willing to pay that money, so they're gonna carve out a day for them. That's it. That's the only reason. Nobody likes them. With Jason Kelsey liked him, he said, but Jason liked him later in his career because he didn't want to practice. He was like, yeah, just give me the game. He didn't need it, but a lot of younger players actually need to practice, as Big Fangio will let you know every week, basically. And we'll probably again today because he's going to talk today, but.
Yeah, they're on an expeditious week this week with the Thursday game. They got to move everything along. John, I don't know, though. I mean, I agree with you from we're overreacting to the loss, but I'm less inclined to believe that this meeting was about the loss itself and more about the relationship of two players who, have a large part in the direction of this team and where we go and what they're capable of achieving.
Well, then go see Dr. Phil. Don't have Saquon brokering it.
But that's not a realistic solution to if there is a problem. I agree with you. The problem shouldn't be there. But if the problem is there, what's the solution? Because going to Dr. Phil is not realistic. And I know you're saying that.
No, I should know. People will probably take me seriously.
Yeah, right.
But, I don't know what to say. I mean, I don't think I'm glad they had a positive meeting. I
probably shouldn't say this, but that sounded like a text right from Bobby Lang.
No, I don't think it's from Bob. But
it's from somebody.
Well, yeah, it's from somebody in the building, but it's not from the PR people. But I don't want to sort of speculate for somebody. Jimmy can do that. Jimmy can let people know if he wants to, but. And I'm sure whoever said it doesn't want him to. So that's the way it works. But, I don't think it matters that much. Is my take. I'm glad it was positive. I'm glad they're trying to repair their relationship, I guess. But again, I'd much rather get the offensive line healthy, blocking people, and then I think everything is fine. But yeah, I mean, I even in the midst of it, I think it's kind of funny that even the biggest stars on the team, because they are the skill position players, don't realize the issue, which is the offensive line.
I agree with that from a football perspective, but again, I think this is a little bigger than football. And you're right. I mean, it's funny. You're right. Yeah, go to Dr. Phil, but again, they got to fix the issue. They got two grown men who aren't seeing eye to eye. I think it's pretty obvious, John. I mean, it's not just Philly talking about this. It's the whole NFL world is just like, yeah, AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts are not on the same page. It almost looks like they just don't like one another. They don't care for one another. And Saquon, I think, came in and said, all right, guys, enough of this shit. Come on. You're two grown men. We're trying to accomplish a goal. Let's get together and talk it out and figure out how to be productive again on the football field. Is it not that? You don't think it's that?
Yeah, it might be, but I mean, I guess I don't think, I don't think Saquon should be the one in the position to do that, but if it works, fine. But like, but is he involved in the relationship? No. So ultimately, if they have that big of an issue,
if their relationship is hurting the team, then that becomes Saquon's responsibility as it with the C on his chest. No.
Well, it becomes Jordan's responsibility. It becomes Jake's responsibility. There's a bunch of people with C on their chest, as I pointed out, but mainly it's Nick Sirianni's responsibility. Not mainly, it's Nick Sirianni's responsibility. Now, you can say, well, maybe a player's voice will carry more than a coach who's essentially your boss. So you can play it that way. I think if they continue to act like this is how I take it. They're making a bigger deal out of it than they need to make out of it. And if they keep doing this bullshit because of one loss, which could have easily went the other way, like I talked about, all the wins could have easily went the other way. Well, this could have easily went the other way, and you could be 5-0, and then there's no meeting. So I think they're overreacting to a loss. Admittedly, a lot of self-inflicted wounds in that loss. And then if you do this too often, I think it becomes a self-fulfilling prophecy. Like I'm sitting here after this kind of silliness. I'm sitting here saying, boy. And I can't even picture an avenue because the New York Giants are that bad, but it is an NFL team. If they lose to the New York Giants, it is a short week. You are on the road. I mean, you only got to go up the turnpike, but if they lose to the New York Giants, what the hell is going to happen then?
I don't know, John. I don't think this is as much about the one loss. I really don't. I mean, I think that was the catalyst for it, and you're probably right. If they win the game, they don't have this meeting. But I think there's a macro thing at play here where the relationship between those two has gotten to a point where it's now noticeable in the locker room. It's noticeable to the spectating audience. And Saquon, whatever, you could say it should be Jake Elliott, but let's be real, it would never be Jake Elliott. Saquon took the initiative and said, let's handle this like men. I don't know. Maybe again, I might be way wrong, but that's just how I saw it when I thought of it. I really didn't think it was as much about
again,
if you want to talk about the overreaction of the loss, I agree 100%. I think even me included, it's like, all right, guys, everybody loses games.
I just asked, AJ in the past is that who was also a captain, and Jalen's a captain. AJ in the past has talked about you have to have difficult conversations. I asked Devontae on Friday of last week before the game about those difficult conversations that just happened to come up. And he said, yeah, they go on the entire time. So what's different? What's different other than the announcement? It's not really an announcement, but it's an announcement through a third, party that, it strikes me as very performative. And again, maybe that's the problem. Stop worrying about being performative. It strikes me as very performative is the word I'll use.
I understand that perspective, but I do think, do you believe that their relationship has begun to affect the team from a football perspective?
No, I don't think it has. I think the offensive line attrition has been the issue offensively. I think it's
I'm not saying
impacted.
it's the only issue, John. The offensive line's an issue too. I'm talking about specifically those two. Is there a percentage that they could be operating better if those two were more on the same page?
Well,
You know,
I guess it would. If you're asking, would it be better if they're best friends? Yeah, but
no,
they're
I'm not
not.
asking that. I'm asking if
Well, I meant from their previous relationship. Would that be better? Yes, but it's not, and it's not going to be. So, you know, you're either a professional, and I think they're both professionals, or you're not. Um, and I know some people have speculated. I know a lot of people field watch. Oh, they're not talking. They're not talking. Like, look, if they're not talking, if they're not communicating, hey, that's childish. Number one.
well, I think that I agree, and I think that might be what Saquon's addressing because I think
Well,
they kind of
then
both
then
taking that
then
approach.
then I would say that's where the head coach has got to come in and say, put his foot down. Like, I don't give a shit if you guys are getting along this and that and this and that, but on the field, in this building, you have to communicate in a football sense. Um, and that to me is not something fixable by, you know, anybody other than the head coach and the coaching staff. But so, I mean, if it was a positive meeting, like I said, I guess it's better than having a negative meeting. Um, but I don't think this is any cure all, is what I would
I
say.
don't think it's a cure all, but yesterday, John, you said Jalen is aloof. Isn't this a good thing for somebody described as aloof? It's like, okay, if he is, and again, everybody's got their own personality. It's largely worked for Jalen Hurts. I'm not really criticizing him about it. But if it's rubbed AJ the wrong way, if it's been a reason that
Well,
he has,
I don't think it's rubbed AJ the wrong way. Like, when I say that, I'm not talking about the AJ Browns of the world. I'm not talking about the Saquon Barkleys of the world. I'm talking about lower level players. Um, I'm not talking about those guys. At all. So that part of it, I don't think affects them one iota. You know, I brought it up, and I knew, and that's my own fault. I got a lot of shit for that, and that's fine. I brought up that comparison because Carson was here, and a lot of people, for a different reason, a lot of people on the team felt he was not very inclusive with everyone.
right.
He kept to himself. And his was based more on religion. So everybody, I shouldn't even have mentioned religion. His was based, and a lot of people are just like, all right, he's not comfortable. He's not going to go out to dinner with the guy. He's going to go home. He's going to be with his family, blah, blah, that kind of. So he wasn't considered part of the group. With Jalen, it's different, but you get that similar vibe. And it's interesting because when Carson left and Jalen took over, you heard all those stories where they could sign a fringe guy and Jalen was texting him and welcoming him to the team. And you don't hear that anymore. With the exception of, some offensive players. But we're talking defensive player, high level offensive players. But we're talking, when Jalen first took over, it could be a safety, the 53rd guy on the roster. He's welcoming them to the team. That to me has shifted a little bit, at least to me, not to me. The perception with the lower level people is that has shifted, and that is no longer the case. That's what I was talking about. And again, it's my own fault. Just like AJ with social media, people run with the football anyway they want to run with the football. You could either listen to the context or don't listen to the context. Ultimately, I don't give a shit because people are going to do what they want to do. That's what I was talking about. That is not in play when you're talking about AJ Brown and Saquon Barkley, who are arguably bigger superstars. Now, Jalen is a bigger one because he's playing quarterback, but it doesn't impact them one iota.
All right. Well, Jimmy Kemsky put out, it was a couple hours long, I think he put out, didn't he?
Yeah.
Let me read up what Jimmy put. I don't know. I mean, I hear you, but I do believe that chemistry is a part of team sports, and if if they don't have chemistry, that's impacting the team. And I view this as a attempt to get the better chemistry. Is that not a fair way to look at it? I mean,
Look, I said I'm just not putting a lot on it. I mean, it's better, as it was
you don't think
described
it's going
as
to help one way or another. You don't think
no,
it's
I
okay.
don't think it's going to hurt. I don't think it's going to help. Is where I am. Again, is a positive meeting more a, a better thing than a negative meeting? Sure, obviously. So from that standpoint, but I don't think this is going to fix any issues. I don't think it's going to harm anything either. I just don't, performative. I think it's performative. It's what I think. If they're focused on grinding to fix this disgusting looking offense, they don't need to have a meeting. They have, that's all they do is have meetings, which is even amplified this week. Because of the
You're saying
shortness.
it's not really the meat and potatoes. It's not really fixing the real issue, right?
Exactly.
Which is
It's
consistent with J-Mac thinking, which I appreciate.
well, it's very performative. Like all they do is meet all day. You meet, you have a position meeting, you have an offensive meeting, you have a team meeting all day.
You've been in that building a lot. Do you notice Jalen
Not
Hurts and AJ?
recently since they banned us, but
Do
years
you
ago.
notice AJ Brown and Jalen Hurts communicating a lot? Not a lot at all. Do you see them together at all? Does it look
Well,
like they
we're
communicate? I mean,
not
what do you see?
we're not in the building anymore. We used to be in the building. We're now there's a media house on the fringes. The last possible the closest thing to the gate of the Novacare complex is the media house. They try to keep us away from the players as much as possible. Um, Inside, you get to see practice obviously during training camp, which is interesting because Jalen is the godfather of AJ's daughter. So in training camp, he's always over there playing with AJ's kids, and because it's a little bit more relaxed in training camp. Um, so I don't think it was the point where I've seen some people say they don't talk whatsoever. I don't know where that came from. It certainly wasn't the case in July and August when we do get to see it. But I've explained this pretty for a long time now, and again, people can listen to it, they cannot listen to it. Diana put it out there, Diana Rossini, so it becomes a little bit more real. To me, it's always been AJ's gotten married, he's got young kids, he's not a big party guy, he's not going out, so not that Jalen is, but he's spending most of his time with his family, that growing up, that maturing. He's got stuff to do at home. Jalen got married as well. So he's got, they don't have time in real life to be best friends and hang out playing video games, which is not their personalities anyway. So I never thought it was that big of a deal. The only thing is a deal in which I can't see because you don't get to see practice much. And the part we do, the quarterbacks are working out with the quarterbacks and receivers are working out with the receivers, the individual stuff.
Right.
And again, some people spend their whole time looking at these two, and I'm trying to watch the game when the game's going on. So I think they're not as close as they once were because of life, basically. But if there is a problem at the workplace and they're not communicating at the workplace, that's a problem. And I don't know if that's the case. I find it very
You don't
hard
have
to
any
believe.
evidence to prove that one way or the other. Okay.
No. And that again, that is Nick Sirianni, where you just gotta that's a Nick Sirianni issue. That ain't a Saquon Barkley issue.
Let's go to some super chats. See what the people have to say here this morning. I want to thank everybody for being here. Hit that like button for us this morning. All right, a big 2-hour or multiple hour meeting yesterday, everybody. John calls it performative. I understand what he's saying. Let's hope it's productive. Jimmy put out, and I quote, I'm told Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley had a long, positive conversation today. Lasted a couple hours. Make of that what you will. Alexander Harris checks in. What's up, brother? Maybe the meeting was more about Jalen and Brown's relationship, and Barkley played the mediator. Yeah, we talked about that. He sent this early in the conversation.
All right. Well, maybe Saquon can get another endorsement. All right. He's mediating.
Some sort of relationship app or something.
Yeah, sure.
Brian Garner says, fellas, just catching up. The penalties at key moments in the game was what bothered me. Yeah, I rewatched the game yesterday, man. They were just bad spots. If they lose 2 in a row, then I will worry. Well, I do think too, also, John, like we talked a lot about the one rush in the second half. They only had 6 drives, offensive drives in the second half. 3 of them were a 3 and out. One was the one before where I think they had 5 total plays. The first one was the Saquon Barkley touchdown, and the last one was the last the desperation attempt. Yeah. So and on 3 of the 4 drives in the middle, they took penalties that wiped away a running play that they had to Saquon, which set him behind the sticks. And I do think there's some circumstance there to talk about with the lack of runs.
Yeah.
Not a complete bailout, but it's at least context.
Well, they started. I mean, you mentioned if you look at they started white. It was they came out of halftime, pass to Goddard, pass to DeMonte, incomplete to Goddard, big gain to DeMonte, another pass to Goddard for 6 yards, then the touchdown. So 4 for 4, pass, but it was successful, so nobody gives a shit.
Right.
Denver had a somewhat decent sized drive, but had the punt. And then so the Eagles come out and they could really win the game at that point. They really could. And pass, short left A.J. Brown, pass, Dallas Goedert, scramble, which you're dropping back to pass, incomplete pass. Those are your first 2 drives. That's not circumstance. That's and again, the first one is very successful.
Right.
So nobody's going to complain, and if you say, well, Saquon wasn't healthy, well, 2 things, because now he's got general soreness. Maybe that factors into it, but he's out there. So, you can only judge people who are out there. And it also says if he is banged up and you're trying to protect him, well, they have no confidence in A.J. Dillon or Will Shipley, either one of them. And maybe they shouldn't, but that's not a good thing. If you think about Kenny Gainwell, they would have used Kenny Gainwell. So then if you go to the third drive, which again, the Broncos went 3 and out after that crappy Eagles drive, and Braden Mann had a 68-yard punt. And the Broncos went 3 and out, so they have another chance. And then the penalties start. AJ false start. So that sets you back. Incomplete pass, sack. That's the whole third quarter offensively. Not one designed run play.
You can't talk your way out of that one, John. That's not good. There's no doubt. Alexander checks in again. What's up, brother? We are all assuming when it comes to what they talked about, unless we were actually there. Who really knows? But I think it's a positive. I think that's fair.
Well, yeah, I have no information on that meeting. It was described as positive. So I said, hey, it's better than negative. I'm just saying they meet all freaking day. That's why I say it's performative.
JD3 says, I've used the word aloof 100 times since yesterday.
Brian, well, I'm glad I could. I do take pride in my vocabulary.
You have a great vocabulary. Brian Garner says, listen, I don't care about the relationship. Do your job. Sometimes relationships get oversaturated, but you didn't see someone a lot. Now you see them every day. I'm not going to speculate. Just play better. I think that's fair. It's kind of what John's saying. I think a little bit too.
Yeah, I mean, yeah, I mean, yeah, play better.
That's good. There you go, Brian. Good stuff. Blaze says, I feel like Carson only liked Fletcher Cox because they love Jesus and both love to hunt. LOL. Yeah, they did both love to hunt.
Well, that's no. In all seriousness, I mean, yeah, I mean, there was the religious group and the group that wasn't religious, and that's why I brought up. Not that anything wrong with it. I mean, I actually admire people who, have that sort of, something in their life which they can lean on in difficult times. But others are uncomfortable with it.
Right. And
Not,
they're playing a team game. You have to manage that.
yeah. It's not good or bad,
I
but
think it's because just about because I'm just speculating here, but the way you worded it yesterday with Jalen, is it just because he's so almost emotionally mature? Like he doesn't get bogged down by shit. He just seems to be so focused all the time. Versus AJ's a little bit more emotional or a little bit more, reactive to some things, as evidenced by his post game tweets and things of that nature. Jalen's so much more calm and stoic, and I truly believe he's just kind of trying to win. I don't know. I believe he is who he says he is. And I think that might be hard for some players when you have a 53-man roster who you say all the time, getting them all on the same page isn't all that easy.
Well, yeah, everybody's not the same.
Some dudes are just there, because they have to be. Some dudes are there so they don't get fined. Not everybody's there to be a champion. Jalen is there, at least in my opinion, to be a champion. Are they not on his level? Is that fair to say, or no?
Well, some certainly. I do think he's very mature for his age. Jeffrey Lurie said that for a long time. He's very mature for his age, and that sets him apart. He is a little bit different behind the scenes than he is in front of us, which is a little bit, I don't want to say manufactured, but a little bit, I would say, turned on versus when he's turned off. Like Darian Kennard used to talk about when he was here, Jalen will go beat the shit out of him in ping pong and talk crap. He's not the robot behind the scenes that he is in front of the scenes. So I guess performative is the word of the day. There is a little bit of a performative aspect to his presence, his presentation in front of the cameras.
Right.
So, I mean, and that's the way he wants it. And that's carefully cultivated. It's very intentional. I always use that word with Jalen Hurts. Everything's very intentional. He wants to be portrayed that way. So, but as the leader of a football team, and that's what the quarterback is, especially a good quarterback, you got to be very inclusive, and you got to include the emotional people, and you got to include the religious people and the non-religious people, right. And you got to include the immature people and the partiers and whatever, where you have to at least try. And I think that was the mentality early in his tenure. And part of it is, maybe all this boils down to not handling success well.
It's a fair perspective.
Because, and Nick talks about that all the time. That's why he talks to so many coaches who've had sustained success and players who've had older players who've had sustained success. How do you handle that? Because it's easy. It's not easy to handle adversity, but you expect to handle adversity. That's what you expect. Right. Well, I have to handle adversity. Handling success is a lot more difficult because people don't think it's a problem. Often it is a problem. Eagles went through this in 2018 as well. So, this group is far more talented and far more equipped to do it on the field. But all this stuff strikes me, off the field stuff strikes me as not handling the success part of it as well as they potentially could.
That's fair. It's a fair way to look at it. Blaze, thanks for the chat, brother. Appreciate it. Simo checks in. What's up, Simo? This has been an unresolved issue since BG said something. I'm glad this is happening. this will translate to on-the-field play as far as communication. I don't know if that's a guarantee, but I do think the BG comment is obviously a little bit, does make more sense now looking back on it. I know everybody in the moment
let the cat out of the bag. Let
Yeah.
the cat out of the bag. Yeah. And the point is, these issues were going on last year, and they won, so nobody cared.
To your point about the meeting of it's all bullshit. It's not really
Formative is the word I use.
Yeah. Somebody said in the chat we got to come up with a JMac word of the day. Yesterday was aloof. Today is performative. Mike Kravick says, do you guys see a trade happening for edge rusher? I'm going to say no. But, John, your thought?
Maybe. I mean, November 4th is the trade deadline. So you got, positive first step for Azeez Ojulari. If Nolan Smith is back after the bye week, I think, well, you got to make a decision. Obviously, that's more of a medical decision. And I think if Azeez starts to play well, I think Zadarius Smith and Josh Uche played well this season. I do not think Jalix Hunt has played well. And unfortunately for the Eagles, because Zadarius is 33 and Josh is pretty much a situational player, Jalix is getting all these snaps. And really you want that to turn into Nolan Smith when he comes back. So Nolan's health is a big key to this. And if they feel that he's not going to be back or he's not going to be able to help them the way he needs to help them, then they might have to make a move. The problem is, but they should know the bye week is right around the trade deadline, and they come back November 10th, which is after the trade deadline at Green Bay. They should know by that point what to expect from Nolan Smith, if he's ready to go, if he's not ready to go. If he's not ready to go, I think they'll make a big push to add something. If he is, and they're comfortable with it, that kind of depends on how well Azeez and Josh hold up from now until then. And it's a good chance it'll be pretty good because you got Giants, and then Minnesota, which will be Minnesota is a tough game because it's out there and they could have a good defense. They should have some of their injured players back, but I don't know what's going on with Van Ginkel. If Cashman and Van Ginkel are back, they have a good defense, but they're hurt right now. And the quarterback situation is just a disaster with JJ McCarthy. Carson Wentz has been okay, but they want to go back to McCarthy. So
I think Kevin O'Connell's put too much stock in him to bail on him, dude. I do. I think he's
that's part of the problem.
He's put himself between a rock and a hard place.
He really has. He really has. And that should help the Eagles. So, I mean, you got 3 games where should be pretty easy defensively for Vic Fangio. Vic doesn't want to hear that, but that's the reality of the situation. Then you got the big test: Green Bay, Detroit here. Boy, Detroit looks like the best team in the NFC to me early in the season. Again, and I've shifted from Green Bay to Detroit.
Detroit looks good again. I'm worried about their defense again. I mean, their defense is going to – I think it got another injury recently. Lions – and I don't know. I mean, I think they're a good team. Yeah, Terrion Arnold got injured, although he's
not playing well.
He's not playing very well.
Hutchinson's back. They're getting the Lynn McNeil back. That to me is the key.
Yeah,
they're not great, but if they have those 2 guys,
they can make some hay.
Yeah.
Good stuff there. Mike, appreciate it. Prince says, I call bullshit J-Mac, but okay, we get it. All right, Prince. Simo says, J-Mac biggest op is optimism.
I didn't get either of those. My biggest
op is like a
opponent. Well, football wise, it's opportunity. You always hear coaches talk about ops constantly. They mean opportunity for the players. They don't mean opponent. But again, I never know where a fan's going when
Here's Abe says Jalen probably speaking in quotes during the meeting.
He might be.
Yeah.
No, yeah.
I can see how that part of it would be a little bit frustrating.
But he doesn't
I
act.
never thought he was like that behind the scenes.
He doesn't act that way behind the scenes. That's in front of the camera, Jalen.
Makes sense. Alexander says aloof, stoic. There you go. Roll Philly says, nah, Jalen cool. He just doesn't like John. I don't think that's true at all.
I don't think that's true at all.
Yeah.
People are wild, man. They just go up. Yeah.
Well, let's see.
Well, here's the thing. I don't think Jalen gives a shit about John. I don't think he dislikes me. I don't think he likes me.
Yeah, right. I think
we have a good professional relationship, but I don't think he gives a shit about John. I'm not going to sit here and says he likes me, but I'm pretty sure he doesn't dislike me because he's shown no evidence of that.
Yeah, no doubt. Real quick, we'll move on a little bit, John. I do have some other questions today, but I'm happy we talked a little bit about that meeting. Obviously, a lot of people are talking about it at this point. Did you catch the game last night, John? That was a good football game.
Yeah, after I watched the Phillies implode.
Yeah, me too.
I Jacksonville's an interesting team because they're doing pretty well. Trevor Lawrence is, boy, man, he can. Some of his throws are like, wow. And you start to remember
like some plays you're like, what the fuck are you doing?
I know.
And then some plays you're like, whoa, that ball was thrown perfectly.
Yeah. That's my thing with Trevor Lawrence. It's like he just doesn't have a feel, but man, he makes throws that few people can make.
Yeah.
So I mean, look, they're going in a positive direction. Good for them. It was entertaining. Chiefs better offensively than they have been. Big pick six, Patrick Mahomes. Another NFL game coming down. Last team has the ball, they win.
Yep.
All these teams move the ball so easily, and the Eagles, everything's a chore.
I'll tell you what. There was two things though I thought the Chiefs did that ruined their chances at winning the game. Why did they not fair catch the kickoff? You have 23 seconds.
Yeah, well,
3 timeouts. You need 30 yards if you fair catch the kickoff to get.
Well, you have to return, or the fair catch. You're at the 20, so you have to return.
Is it 20 at the fair catch?
Yeah, you can't. If it's in the landing zone, you have to return it. That's what they're trying.
So, what do you value more, basically? Potentially 10 yards or 8 seconds on the clock. I don't know. I might value 8 seconds.
Well, the thing is, if you have to return it, and teams do that on purpose. Or they should, one of the biggest problem when the Chiefs scored, they kicked it out of bounds. I believe that really killed them.
Yeah, they started at 40.
But when they do it right, when you execute, I remember there was a game earlier, week 1. Oh, it was the Monday night game. The Bears didn't have any timeouts, and they tried to kick it out of the end zone, and they said no, take it out. Because he wanted to waste the time, and they did the right thing. In that instance, what you have to return the kick, but you got to go. You got to go immediate. No cut. No nothing.
Right.
Just just go straight ahead and take as little a time as you possibly can. But
yeah, and then the block in the back. I mean, that was just
Then that's.
Once I saw that, I'm like, yeah, you just made it really hard on Mahomes to be able to do that. So we'll see what ends up happening. We got Jeff Kerr. There he is. I was hoping Jeff would join us today. He joins us here on Birds 365. John, let's bring Jeff Kerr in and see what he thinks of this meeting that the Eagles had. He joins us right now. Jeff, we got to talk a little bit about the Phillies, but we will do that. Jeff, what's going on, man?
Jeff Kerr's got Phillies hangover.
Yeah, he was I saw your tweet. You were at the stadium late, so thanks for getting up with us, Jeff. We appreciate it.
Yeah, no worries, Zander. By the way, you guys, I'll tell you why I'm a little late today. I didn't get home till 2.
I figured it was late.
Yeah, and my Apple Watch was on 5%. That's usually my wake up call. I put it on the thing, but my charger. I wake up and I'm like, okay, I know I'm supposed to be on Birds this morning, and I look at the time. I'm like, oh, it's 8:45. So yeah, a little late, but
all right. Listen, you're working hard, man. We appreciate you checking in and giving some time for us. Obviously, we're always appreciative of your time, so we do appreciate that. Jeff, we'll talk about the Phillies. That season's done. I'm sorry, but I think it's done.
Come on, it's not over.
It's
They
not
tried
over.
it.
You sound like our buddy Ed Kratz. Season's over.
Well,
Yeah.
it's not over yet, but do you think the Phillies are going to win 3 of the next?
I don't, but all
3
you got to
straight?
do is win one, and you start to put pressure on. You just go one at a time. These
Yeah,
5-game series, I'm a Yankees guy. They're probably done, but hey, they win tonight. Put a little bit more pressure. Go win. Then there's a ton of pressure. You never know.
John, one of my
happened
favorite
once.
parts of yesterday's show was for the first time ever in my doing shows with you, you showed the fandom side of yourself.
Yeah. Well, I'm only a fan of one team.
I know, but I still loved hearing it because it was like, okay, good. John's got that too. He goes, leave the Yankees in Toronto. He said,
I'm only a fan of one team, and that's the New York Yankees, because I don't cover baseball. So I haven't believe me, if I covered baseball, I would not give a shit about the New York Yankees. I guarantee you, because if you cover it, it immediately becomes all right. The old never meet your heroes thing. Never meet your heroes, because you will immediately become very detached. It's just the way it is. But that's the only team I root for. I'm very honest about that.
I'm like that with the Phillies. Like, I'm close with a lot of Phillies players, and I talk to the same guys pretty much every single night, and I get a lot of intel from them. And you hear stuff about your heroes or guys that you liked maybe 5-7 years ago, you don't like as much anymore. And it all kind of comes back.
And by the way, there's a lot of people I root for on the Philadelphia Eagles, both in the front office and players, because they're good dudes, and you root for, good people, good things to happen to good people. That's how I look for
it. That's how I say about everybody likes to get on the Phillies bullpen. I said, well, I'll tell you what, as someone who knows a lot of guys in that Phillies bullpen, they're very easy to root for. And you don't know what's going on behind the scenes. You don't know why this play happens or that play happens. And again, you're not in there. That's fine, but just don't make generalizations. That's all I ever said.
All right, Jeff, let's kick it over to the Birds. They took their first loss of the year on Sunday. And, I think we've all collectively, the city of Philadelphia, has forgotten what it feels like to lose a game. Welcome to the rest of the NFL, man. Everybody loses some games. But obviously yesterday, the lead story today, Jeff, is they had a big meeting yesterday. Jimmy Kempski put up a tweet during the Phillies game. I'm not sure if you saw it because
I did see it, yeah.
Yeah, that they had a long meeting. A positive meeting was the word he used. Apparently it went multiple hours. What do you make of it, Jeff Kerr? Saquon, AJ, and Jalen Hurts meeting to try and get this train on the tracks.
My first initial thought when I saw Jimmy's tweet was, I think it was during the third inning of the Phillies game when it happened. Well, Saquon Barkley initiated this. Had to. Because this doesn't seem like
Dr. Bill, he's going to get that endorsement.
Yeah. It just doesn't seem like Jalen or AJ went to each other and said, hey, let's do a kumbaya here. No, there's a reason why Saquon Barkley was in the middle of this. And of course, Devin Caney and I were joking about it. We were talking, well, where's Devontae Smith? Why is he left out of this? But I mean, it's good. I mean, it's clear. I forget who said it. Oh, the first where I heard it was for all you 90s sports movies fans, you Disney fans, Coach Ted O'Ryan from Mighty Ducks 3. You learn a heck of a lot more from losing than you do from winning.
Yep.
Yeah. To me, I use the word performative. It's very performative. All they do is meet, Jeff. All day. That's all they do.
Oh, yeah.
Especially this week when they have no practice. It's all meetings. You have a team meeting, an offensive meeting, a position meeting, meetings. Are they making too much of this loss? Because I think they are.
I think they are too, because you're going to lose football games. The Buffalo Bills lost a football game.
Exactly.
On Sunday night.
Business as usual. Business as usual.
I get it. I get it. You won 20 of 21. You won 10 in a row, dating back to last year. You haven't lost a game your quarterback started and finished in 371 days. It's very rare losses happen in Philadelphia recently, but it happened. And you're going to lose games at some point during the season. Denver was always a good team. Maybe they're upset that they let that game get away. And maybe
Jeff, is it deeper though? I mean, because I agree with John in a sense of you can't let one loss change the way you operate and the way you do things. If business as usual makes sense. But we've heard about this relationship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts for a while now, dating back to when Brandon Graham let the cat out of the bag, as John phrased it, or maybe even before that.
It's been almost 2 years now. By the way,
that's what I mean. So maybe this issue is more about addressing that to try and improve the product on the field, as opposed to just we lost a game, we have to meet. Does that make sense, or do you see that? Am I on to something? Am I way off base? What do you think of that?
No, I mean, in a way, I think they're overreacting to the loss, but maybe Saquon has been in this locker room for a year and a half now. He knows what's going on. It just feels like these two, Jalen and AJ, need to come to a head here. Like it's okay. And look, they do have a good business relationship, but I don't know. What bothered me about Sunday's game, and just you ran the ball 9 times. You threw the ball 80% of the time. It's
bizarre.
Yeah, you're playing like the Cincinnati Bengals and all these teams that just put up these gaudy stats. Oh, I was so waiting for Jalen to throw for 300 because I had it ready to set.
Oh, you were looking up the stats and everything, I'm sure.
I was hoping Jalen would get 20 garbage yards at the end and say, oh, by the way, guys, Jalen threw for 300. And they lost.
Oh, man.
I was ready for it.
Well, he should have if you had the AJ big shot. The Jahan
well, they would have
Dotson.
won then. They would have won then.
Yeah, Jahan Dotson almost caught that ball. I think he did, to be honest. Devontae called back by the illegal shift.
Saquon's penalty.
Yeah, Saquon's penalty, which was the proper call, but that's how close he was to getting over 300. You're right. Do you want to play that way?
Yeah, and look, that's the thing. Like, there are a lot of positives to take from that game in terms of the passing game, especially in the first half and in the third quarter. I just thought it bizarre that they were up 17-3 and you call one running play and all the passing plays you call are in the shotgun and the running play you call.
In the third quarter, they didn't have a design run in the entire third quarter.
That's nuts. Like, and that's the crazy part, John, right? Like, everything we say worked. You pass to set up the run. I'm like, okay, they did that. Now they're going to run the ball. And for some reason, they didn't. It's not like Denver scored right away either after they took a 17-3 lead.
No, it's bizarre. It was very bizarre. And that's why I if they would have just shut up and business as usual, I would have shifted the blame towards the coaching staff for this one, which I rarely do, I said, because I'm always going to I don't think the coaches are important as the players. I think the players are more important. So when they play well, I give the players more credit. When they play poorly, I blame it more on the players. This one, I would have shifted to the coaches because of that ratio. And by that, I mean, you've heard me say this a million times, Jeff. Tell me what the score is, and I'll tell you what the run-pass ratio is.
Yeah.
It works every time. Didn't work on Sunday because they were out of their minds trying to either acquiesce outside voices or the inside voices, whichever you want. People are playing semantics. Well, why is it outside? It's AJ. Whoever. They were uncharacteristic trying to satiate somebody, whether it's Drew Brees saying it's the boringest offense in the history of the world, or A.J. Brown or Devontae Smith inside the building. Doesn't matter who. They went away from what they do to prove something to somebody else. They won't admit it, but actions speak louder than words.
Oh, yeah, and they hear this stuff, right? I wish they would hear someone like Jeff Saturday speak. He's on ESPN, but he's on a pod. I like listening to his podcast, by the way. And he talked about this last week. I wasn't aware you had to apologize for wins. I like when my team wins. Who cares how you do it? The record is the record. And you keep doing that until someone says, I'm going to beat it. Denver didn't beat it. they won the game, but Eagles are up 17-3.
Denver beat us at our own game, Jeff.
Yeah.
Turnover-free football, pounce on the opportunities when they come, run the ball consistently. I think Dobbins had 18, 20 carries for 80 yards or whatever it was, a gritty 4 yards to carry, and they won the football game in the end. Jeff, does this meeting help this offense get on track? Because I do think, look, I agree with the point of we lose one game, and it's like, all right, welcome to the rest of the NFL. You're going to lose a game. But let's call a spade a spade. The offense has been downright brutal this year. Downright brutal at almost every level. Run, pass, no matter what they're trying to do, it doesn't look good. Now, you can blame Jalen, you can blame the offensive line, you can blame Kevin Patul, blame whoever you want. Does this give them a chance to get closer to being more successful in that offense?
I don't think it can hurt. Let's just put it that way. I mean, when you're 30th in yards per play, it can't hurt, right? And I think the Giants can help that because, look, they're going to play a football team just lost to the New Orleans.
The Giants will help it more than the meeting will.
They play the Giants. You know what? It was funny. So if they would have won this game, John knows this. I probably would have went up to him after the game and said, he might be 8-0 by the bye.
Yeah, it's crazy.
I said that yesterday. I'm pretty sure they're going to be 7-1 by the bye at this point.
And by the way, if they go up and do what they're supposed to on Thursday night, please don't give me. I'm not talking to you. I'm talking to fans. Please don't give me. Oh, the meeting worked. The New York Giants worked.
Yeah, they're a bad football team, guys. And look, if the Eagles lose to the Giants, then you can really.
Then the wheels are off, man. If they lose this game, the wheels are off.
Yeah, look, they should take care of this team. And honestly, I've watched enough Vikings games this year. I don't care if it's Carson Wentz may be a better option for the Vikings than JJ.
Not maybe.
Yeah,
come on. Let's not kill Carson. Carson has actually played pretty well.
He's made some big throws too, man.
That was a big time throw. That game winner. That was a big time throw.
But if you're an Eagles fan, you want JJ McCarthy playing that game.
Oh,
you want him back.
Yes. I mean, Carson can at least do some things. And remember, they won that game in London, and they were down 5 offensive linemen. They were down 4 of their 5 starters. 4 of their 5 starters on the offensive line. Yeah. And Darisaw will be back. Jackson will be back. O'Neal might be back.
Yeah, he's still banged up.
So, yeah, you would much rather see JJ McCarthy.
I think Will Fries is the only offensive lineman on that team that hasn't gotten hurt.
Yes.
You're good for a couple turnovers probably from Carson. You got Jackson Dart in 2 of the next 3.
Maybe if you're in the league,
like, all right, you can right the ship here with 3 teams that you're, let's call a spade, basically superior or a lot better to an NFL state. You're not superior to anybody; they're all NFL players. But you got two teams coming up in the next 3 games that aren't so good. You have Jackson Dart, a rookie quarterback, in 2 of them. And Carson Wentz, who, we all know who Carson Wentz is well. You can have 4 or 5 takeaways in the next couple games. Win 3. You're 7-1 at the bye week, and everybody in Philadelphia is clapping their hands. Yeah, we're the best team in football. That's where I think the overreaction to the loss is true.
Yeah, and look, if you're a Bills fan, you're probably thinking the same thing right now. Like, you just lost to the Patriots, a team you've owned for years.
That was a brutal loss.
That was a brutal loss. Drake May was great in that game.
Drake May's a good football player.
Stephon Diggs showed up.
Yeah.
Stephon Diggs showed up.
Stephon, he had something to prove Sunday night, I think.
Yeah, well, I hope he plays like that consistently because we forget how good of a receiver. Some people do forget how good of a receiver he was when he was in, his early years. He could run routes.
Phenomenal route.
I feel a lot better about my prediction on the Patriots for the season. I said I thought they would be respectable. I thought they could be.
I do like Drake May. I do, especially compared to this group past 2-3 years. The group of young quarterbacks, he's by far the best. So I do like Drake May. They're finally heading in the right direction. I still think we're not going to know about this Eagles team till November 10th and November 16th, and then we will know.
Yep.
Then we will know.
It's going to be, and that's unfortunate that we won't know that, but that's just how the schedule plays out.
Yeah. And specifically that Detroit game. And that Detroit game's here, so that helps. But they're going to have to score some freaking points in that game. They're going to have to score some points.
After Detroit, I can't remember who they play after. I know Chicago's Black Friday, but who's the game?
At Dallas.
Oh, that's right, Dallas. That's the Dallas game. Okay.
Which is more difficult
we have
than
bye week, Packers, Detroit.
bye week at Packers, Detroit here, at Dallas, then Chicago here, which should be relatively easy. At the Chargers, Eagles fans will take over SoFi.
And the Bears are in Philly, right, on Black Friday. That's the Black Friday game.
Las Vegas should be easy here. At Washington, and who knows that at those last three games at Washington, at Buffalo, Washington here,
they may not mean it.
They might mean everything. They might mean nothing for all of those teams. So, Buffalo in theory should have the AFC East wrapped up, and if they're, they might have to fight for seeding, but it might be wrapped up.
All right, guys, trivia question.
Uh-oh.
Who is the number one seed in the AFC playoff standings right now? I know we're only 5 weeks in, but
Jaguars. Jaguars.
It's not the Jaguars. But you got the right division.
Indianapolis Colts.
Colts. Yeah.
I'll tell you, my 5-game MVP of the NFL, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones.
Yeah.
Baker Mayfield deserves some consideration there too.
Baker Mayfield's playing great football, man. He really is.
I have an official vote, and if we were voting, I would vote for Daniel Jones. He's the MVP of the NFL.
You can't argue it. I mean, for 5 weeks, it's
amazing what a good coach can do for a quarterback. Maybe we get a little bit of that in Philly.
Good situation. They have a good offense. Indianapolis has had a good offensive line for a while.
Yeah, I hear you.
They have a great running back who helps. It's funny, yeah. All quarterbacks need fucking help.
Well,
all quarterbacks need help.
John, that's why sometimes, and I agree with your premise that coaching ain't as important as some people think, but I do think it matters, and that's where I'm wondering if Petula is not giving us the edge.
I'm going to defend a guy that's probably
I was talking more
fans.
of talent, but
I'm going to defend the guy that's probably hated by fans here, and this is why I like to blame players over coaches. I didn't realize Jonathan Gannon could fumble the ball at the 1 yard line on a 74-yard touchdown run.
Well, and I love Jonathan. I'm a big JG guy, as most people know, but he shouldn't have ripped the kid a new asshole.
No, I didn't like that. Like,
what'd you guys think? I was going to ask because that's obviously viral all over social media.
He apologized for it yesterday too.
Yeah, I saw that. I don't know. I have a little bit of a different take. You fumbled the fucking ball at the 1 yard line. It's a professional game. Like, dude, hold on to the ball. I get it. You don't want to punch a player. I understand. Everybody's going to give me that. I understand that. I'm just saying, I think we've gotten to the point where, like, these players, you have to coach play. You're a coach.
I think it was the physical touching.
Yes, it was.
You just do it behind the scenes. You do it behind the scenes.
You know what I would have said? Honestly, I will have walked up to him and said, "Thanks, kid. You probably cost me my job." That's all I would have said.
I would have
said that. I would have made it personal and said, "You know what? You just cost me my job, or you just cost this team a win."
JG can easily salvage his season. I mean,
JG comes from here, and no team has a more focus on ball security than the Philadelphia Eagles. And the moment you walk into the auditorium, which is where they have team meetings, they have these big banners up, as Jeff knows. What are they, Jeff? Ball security.
Yeah, ball security's one. They changed it last week, by the way.
Check it. They did change it. And one of the things they put on there was letters and logos. What that means is look at the letters and look at the logo in the end zone before you drop the freaking football.
Yep.
They stress it every single day.
And for those of you who do know, remember when Deshaun Jackson dropped the ball.
Yeah.
Yep, I remember it. I get it. It definitely wasn't a good look that he put his hand. I get that.
My point is, I'm sure Jonathan Gannon teaches the same thing. I'm 1,000% sure. And the same thing has happened to Shane Steichen in Indianapolis, by the way. They had that same issue.
Yeah, Donnie Mitchell did it last week.
Yeah.
Colts could be 5-0 right now. They could be the last unbeaten in this league.
But the point is, and here's about coaching. You can never be 100%. I'm 100% that Shane Steichen and Jonathan Gannon teach the same thing they teach here. Letters, logos. Player doesn't do it. I mean, you can blame the coach all you want. That's a player mistake. That's an example of a player mistake. Period. End of sentence. There's nobody in the NFL who's not taught that.
Yeah,
the Eagles just harp on it more than most. And JG and Shane Steichen, by extension, harp on it more than most. Everybody harps on it. So you can blame coaches for that shit, but you'd be wrong because they're teaching that.
I mean, there's
I'm
a reason.
100%
Well,
on
which
it.
is why I don't think it's a bad thing to discipline or be upset with a player. I guess the way he did it was certainly up for debate.
Well, yeah, the way he did it was the way he did it was wrong. And to Jeff's point, he's already admitted that, and he would admit it.
Yeah,
he knows. He knows.
It's just a shame that made the rounds like it did, and I'm sure in the moment, Gannon. Well, actually, he said that. I woke up Monday morning and didn't feel good about it.
I never even understood that. Like you get a flag or whatever from celebrate. All right, that makes sense. You have your emotions are high. You get up and you celebrate. You get a flag. I never understood why people would drop the ball before getting into the end. I get it. It's close.
It happens every week now.
It happens a lot. But I'm just saying, it's like, for a league that when you're down at the goal line, all you got to do is get that ball across.
Trying to look cool. Yep. Who's cooler than Walter Payton? Who's cooler than Barry Sanders? Hand the freaking football to the official.
Exactly.
That's cool. Act like you've been there before. That's cool.
John, I don't know if you remember, speaking of Barry Sanders handing the ball over. Do you remember when the NFL used to do like the top 10 list on their network?
Not really.
So they have one. I thought it was the coolest thing they ever did. They did top 10 touchdown celebrations of all time. And they're doing
them.
Oh no, they're doing all the flamboyant celebrations you can think of.
Redskins fun bunch.
But you want to guess what they picked as number one and no one saw it coming? We just talked about it. Barry handing the ball to the ref. And it was so cool. Like they said, Barry Sanders handed the ball to the ref 127 times. And they showed all 127. I'm like, that's awesome.
Yep. Act like you've been there before. Yeah, that's the coolest thing you could potentially do.
Yeah.
And that's the easiest way to cure it. But obviously people get excited. And when you don't score a lot of touchdowns, it's obvious. Barry Sanders scored a lot of touchdowns.
If you're Jordan Davis, you don't hand the ball to the ref.
Exactly.
Jeff, how good are the 4-1 Eagles right now?
I still think they're one of the top 5 teams in football. I mean, let's be real. I mean, I'm actually a little more optimistic.
With the stagnant offense, because now that we've lost, I think it's easier for people to face that.
Yeah, I think this defense has been a lot better than what I thought they were going to be. And keep in mind, their best pass rusher is a guy that wasn't even on the team in week 1.
I know. He's like so far and away the best looking pass rusher on the team. It's like not even close.
Yeah, and look, John and I said, Xander, you even agreed with us. We thought the expectations were too high on Jalen Hunt, and it's showing. He doesn't have a sack yet.
Yeah, John's right about him. To putting the cart before the horse.
Right about Za'Darius too. That he would be the best.
Can you imagine if we didn't sign Za'Darius?
It'd be terrible.
That dude could get off the couch and rush the passer. The problem, that's an NFL problem. Like why he bounces around. Well, I know why, because he's 33.
Yep.
And they don't want to pay a 33-year-old guy.
And he doesn't view himself as 33. It's like he told me, I started playing football my senior year of high school. Late. Yeah.
But it's amazing. All he does is production each and every year. And, I don't know if we can pay this guy. And, let's try insert name. I don't want to pick on Jalen Hunt, but give me a break. I mean, those two are not even the same species as a pass rusher.
And look, I think Jahai Campbell's had a great start. I think him and Zach Ball. I mean, it's crazy. Like they have embarrassment of riches at linebacker. Who would have thought? John, how did you think Keely Ringo played Sunday? By the way,
I thought he was fine.
Yeah,
I thought again that No, for some reason, nobody's testing Kaylee right
Yeah.
now.
I know.
He's shocked no one's texting.
Well, I think honestly, I think they didn't test him last week because they wanted to throw the ball to Cortland Sutton, and I think we all learned why they wanted to do that, whether Quinyon was on him or not. I mean, they were throwing back shoulders to him, and he was mossing.
Well, I agree with that. Cortland was dominant. I mentioned that yesterday.
You remember the first, my guys, you remember the real quick, the first drive too? Cortland also he beat Quinyon down the field on the sideline, and the ball went through his hands. So it wasn't just the fourth quarter. I know he didn't catch the ball, but there was moments in that game where Cortland was really getting the better of Cortland.
He's a very good player. I say all the time, people don't pay attention to the opponent. He is a very good player.
And you know what? I don't think people pay attention to the Broncos. And again, understandable, right? You know, from if you're an Eagles fan, you're not paying attention to them. But I said all week, man, this Broncos team, I don't know how they're 2-2. One of the craziest stats I saw about the Broncos, I didn't realize it till I was prepping for the week. You know the Broncos did not trail in the fourth quarter at all until they played the Eagles?
I did not.
They lost on walk-off field goals.
Were final second field goals.
They lost on 2 walk-off field goals, and they were leading when it happened.
With no time on the clock in both of them. That's crazy.
Isn't that nuts? Like, I'm like, wow. Like, the Eagles are up on this team in the fourth. Like,
all right,
they might have it.
Here's my question for you then. We're going to have Chris Franklin soon, so we got to run, but we're good. He's not in here yet. What are your top 3 biggest concerns with this team? Because, you know, A.J. Brown, Jalen Hurts are meeting. The offense isn't good. Is it defense? Is it offensive? What are your top 3? Is it Petula? What are your top 3 biggest concerns about the Eagles right now?
Pass rush. I'm really concerned about that. I think that's going to be a concern all year. 2, I'm definitely going to go on the offensive side of the ball here. I think it's continuity with the receivers. They got to get on the same page. Devonta Smith's right. They got to get on the same page. So I'll go with that. And 3, Landon Dickerson and Cam Jurgens. How injured are they?
Well, I don't think Landon's playing this week. I think he's going to be out for at least this game. You know,
I would give him time.
I wouldn't be surprised if he's out until after the bye. So
he was hobbling pretty good on that ankle when I saw him.
Yeah, it's time to let Landon rest. I mean, at some point, I get it. If you're not hurt, if you're not injured, you play. But he's like 30%.
I'm gonna guarantee he doesn't play Thursday. Okay. I think he might not play after the mini bye, and then as well. So I don't think it's going to be long term, but I think he's going to be out.
Landon's on that balance of I love how he wants to be out there every single snap. And sometimes that's a detriment to your team.
No doubt. Jeff, we got to run, brother. We got Chris. Your final thought, though. We appreciate you coming on. A long night for the Phillies. Make sure you guys go
Phillies. And by the way, they grinded. Give the Phillies credit, man.
Oh, I did. Well, you know what? My column was about how they finally got the momentum, and the offense needs every single at-bat they can get, and you decide to bunt.
Yeah, that was a terrible decision. Bunt was a bad call, or was it just a bad fucking bunt? If you're Bryson Stott, there's one spot to not bunt the ball. I know it's harder, it's easier than it's said than done, but
I hate that.
First baseman.
Here's why I hate that decision.
It was a good bunt. The decision's terrible.
Yeah, the decision. First of all, you don't play that way. That's not how you play baseball for 162 games.
Correct.
And then you want to change in the playoffs when things get heightened. No. Play your I don't like it, but the whole station-to-station baseball, nobody plays that way, and then you expect them to execute in the biggest moment. Terrible decision. Plus, they had the Dodgers bullpen. They couldn't get it out.
Yeah, you gave them an out.
On.
And baseball is one of those sports. Sometimes you get one out. It just changes the trajectory.
Exactly.
Well, Ryan Kirkring was telling me that last night. He said, I got the first out. He said, runners on second, third. Man, does that change everything. And, you know, obviously we know what happened with the play between him and Turner. And Turner admitted to me after the game, I should have threw it sidearmed. Those are decisions that lose a baseball game. And, of course, we lost by a run.
Yeah.
So.
Yep, no doubt.
But the bunt, like, Rob Thompson has not had a good series. Yes.
No, that was a poor decision. Poor decision.
Jeff, good stuff, man. Will the meeting fix the birds?
I think the Giants are going to fix them.
All right, Jeff.
Giants.
good
Come on.
stuff.
Anytime I get a shot at the Giants, I'm going to take it.
I got you. All right, Jeff. Good stuff. Thank you, buddy.
That sounds great. Thanks, guys.
All right, good stuff. Make sure you guys
Thanks,
follow
Jeff.
Jeff at Jeff Kerr CBS. Go read his work. He does a great job covering the Phillies, covering the Birds, covering the NFL. We appreciate him joining us. We got the legendary Chris Franklin, who we made wait. You never make when you have royalty like Chris Franklin. You don't make him.
Yeah,
wait.
that's a bad job. I had to
It's a
get
bad
my
job by
Phillies
us.
point in. That's a bad job.
Let's
I'll,
bring him up
I'll
in.
take the. I'll be accountable. I'll take the hit.
Chris, what's going on, man?
It was fine. I was cool with this. I feel like it's like in Eagles like red zone, like coverage red zone. All of a sudden, I thought we were going quad box for a sec. I'm like, okay, let's hear.
Quad
here
box.
We go. We need
Ooh,
to
quad box would have been nice. We could have done that, Chris. We should have ripped the quad box.
We should have. Yeah, we should have put up the quad box.
Yeah, that would have been good. All right, Chris, welcome in. I want everybody to follow Chris at C Franklin News. Read all his work at NJ.com. Chris, we appreciate you joining here today on Birds 365. And per usual, Chris, there is quite a bit to talk about in Eagle Land. The lead story after a loss on Sunday, the first loss of the 2025 campaign, is now a meeting between Hurts.
Yeah.
Saquon, and AJ
It's like Brookover calling a meeting between Chris Franklin and Caden Steele. That's what it's like.
Chris, what do you make of it?
Yeah. Sorry, that's too me.
John couldn't even let you get out an answer. He had
Yeah.
to slant you.
Well, I was making fun of the meeting. Like, come on, really?
Oh,
Here's my problem, Chris, and
Oh.
I'll shut up and let you go. But here's my problem. You know, they're gonna roll over the New York Giants because it's the New York Giants, and everybody's they had a meeting, everything's fine, everything they figured it out. No, the New York Giants are on the schedule. Business as usual. All they do is meet, Chris.
yeah, sometimes they do, but sometimes some meetings are needed. And I think this is a time where you do that. Because one thing I like to do a lot, especially during like when the breaks when the office first go off, I like to watch the players and see where they're going and who they're interacting with and doing that. And there's that one thing that after that play, the long play everybody's been talking about, where Hurts and Brown didn't get on the same page on that deep throw. And you saw AJ look frustrated a little bit when he got to the sideline. And he's looking down, and he's looking around. He's just looking down, and like it's one of those things where like it wasn't an interaction like he wasn't blowing up or anything, but he just looked down like he was frustrated, like where's that at, bro? Like what's going on? So I wouldn't be surprised if, and I think he knew that there was a camera on him at all times, knowing what happened the week before. So he's one of those things, but I think it's a meeting that's needed. Both of them are really cool with Barkley. Maybe like he was acting like the mediator, which good job by Jimmy Kimsky for getting that. See, that was a good scoop by him. Maybe it was needed. Maybe it's one of the things like, listen, who knows? And it's all speculation. This is not me saying anything when it comes to this. So I don't tell you that. Maybe it was something like where AJ was telling Barkley something. Hurts was telling Barkley something. It's like, you know what? Let's just talk it out between the two of us and doing that. Maybe it's one of those things, but it was needed. And even if it's the Giants, I don't care if it's the Giants, I don't care if it's the Broncos again, I don't care if it's the Cowboys, what have you. You still need to make this go because you don't need all this tension going in there. Because if you have this mounting tension boiling over and over and over, and you lose to the Giants, I don't see it happening. But it's enough. I don't see that happen. I think the Eagles roll in this now, but you need to get it done. Address it early. Don't let it continue to fester, especially going into that mini bye.
Yeah, I mean, it was described by Jimmy as a positive meeting. So, I mean, obviously that's better than negative. So I don't think it's going to hurt, but I don't think it's going to help either. I mean, to me, this strikes me as an overreaction. This team's not used to losing, obviously. Haven't lost in over a calendar year with Jalen Hurts starting and finishing a game. There's something to the idea. Like, everybody, Chris, is prepared. Not everybody does it well, but they're prepared to face adversity. They know they're going to have adversity. You know, bad things are going to happen in an NFL season. So you have that in your mind. Handling success is often more difficult. I think this team is having trouble handling success. I really do. I think that's the bigger issue.
I I don't see that as much. Yeah, I think maybe it's a microcosm. Yeah, like everybody, I think it's more of everybody expects them to win the way they think they should win, especially they're not blowing teams out. So everybody that weighs on you. It's like why that little frustration of why is everybody getting on us when we're winning instead of like because everybody's expecting a lot better with the names that are on the back of those jerseys. So and I see there's a point
Is it about
there.
the loss though? Like, I don't know. I don't think it's about the loss. I think it's about this relationship that seemingly has gotten worse over the last year and a half. I mean,
I think
remember,
it's
BG
the
brought it to
numbers.
light a year ago. The personal relationship part of it, it is what it is. I don't really care whether they're buddy or not. Is it affecting the field now, Chris? It seems like it's starting to affect it more. Maybe that's just my opinion, but that's what I think they're trying to address.
I don't know if it's something like I don't know if there's something in their past or whatever that happened or whatever. I don't know if it's something that I don't think it's necessarily I don't think it's necessarily something that happened where it's affecting them on the field, like something that happened off the field that goes on the field. I think it's more just the fact that they're both not playing to the best of their capabilities in the passing game, and it's starting to those frustrations are really starting to take over and weigh on them because if you're AJ, you look at your stat line, you have people tweeting at you, even though they say like, "Oh no," even though it's one of the worst things ever. Like, "Oh, I'm not," and every player says, "I'm not paying attention to what they're saying on TV, and not paying attention to me, and not paying attention to something." A lot of them look at it, just look at the phone as soon as they get off the field and start looking,
Oh yeah.
scroll, whatever. So they see that stuff, and I wouldn't be surprised if we know we've seen tweets out there before, we've seen the posts out there before going, "You cost my fantasy team, or I had a bet on you, whatever,"
Oh
and this and
God.
that.
Those are
So
the worst people in the world, Chris.
yeah, and one sounds like I wish human nature is gonna be like, I wish I could do better. If you're an athlete too, I wish I could do looking at your stats. I wish I could do better so I don't have to worry about this and I get start getting this stuff or whatever. And I think little time over time, and just basically think looking at the stat line, the way the offense was averaging yards wise and everything else like that, it's starting to weigh on a little bit because you keep hearing the same thing over and over again. It's not getting fixed consistently. So I think that has a lot to do with it as well.
Did you get the feeling that all this talk, whether it's inside the building with AJ and Devontae, or whether it's outside the building with the Drew Breeses of the world, and everybody saying it's the most uncreative offense, crept into the coaching staff's ears because they claim they don't pay attention to that, but I always say, and you probably heard me say it, when I hate the run pass ratio question coming into a game. Zander knows this because um, it's the same every week. Tell me the score, and I'll tell you the run pass ratio. If you're winning and you want to close out the game like last year, what the Eagles did so often, you have this huge advantage run. If you're down 2 touchdowns, 2 scores, you're throwing it all the time, and it looks worse from a pass heavy perspective. On Sunday, the Eagles were ahead for the vast majority of the game, ahead by 2 touchdowns, by 2 scores, 17-3 for a good portion of the game, and they never ran the ball. Completely off of their usual mindsets. How do you look at that and say they didn't listen? And I'm talking about Nick Sirianni, Kevin Patullo, whether it's inside voices or outside voices. They were impacted like that. They can say whatever they want. Actions speak louder than words.
I agree.
They heard something because you could tell because the fact that they were throwing that much. If you only let Saquon getting 2 touches in the second half when you're up that much, that was we want to improve a point type game. It backfired in a way because it took
Exactly.
away that balance a little bit.
We're going to
And
show you game. That's exactly what it was.
it felt like one of those things like, listen, we can do this. We'll improve everybody. Our passing game is still top notch and still we can do it this way. We can do whatever way we want to do. We can run the ball effectively, we can pass the ball effectively, and so what happened on that. This team, I don't usually like to agree with this person, but Stephen A. Smith said it best. Like Nick Sirianni, are you the boss or not? I heard that quote yesterday, and he thought this team had the weapons to be able to throw the ball now, but you can't forget Saquon Barkley and that and he let the outside noise effectively said, "Hey, you changed the identity team, and now you don't have an identity." I think no team really has a true identity until about like halfway through the season when you finally everything settles and you start to go to make that run and you really know what you can do well. Right now,
Yeah.
this team, even if you start to get things, they don't have the bye this week like they had week 5 last year, so you can't do that, and they can't self scout until later this month. And by then, you could be in a. Thankfully they have an easier schedule, but you don't know what you're going to be. I just I look at this passing game and it's all I look at the route trees, I look at some of the separation, I look at the decisions of throwing. It's all one element. It's like when you got if you have all 4 elements, whatever, 3 of them are working, then you got one of them that's not working. Next thing you know, it's incompletion. They're not all on the same page. And I knew it was going to be a little early on with a new coordinator again. It would take some time and really get it. I didn't think it would be like this.
Well, but you do bring up the new coordinator, and there's a certain process of feeling it and doing it for the first time. So put that aside. But because you brought up route concepts, because I want to ask you this question. Do you see a tremendous difference from that perspective? Because I don't, to be perfectly honest. This is the way they played since, basically whatever it was, 7 or 8 games into 2021 when they scaled back the first time. Whether it was Shane, Nick before Shane, Brian, Kellen, and Kellen tried to do it for the first 4 games, tried to evolve it, and they scaled back again. It's very similar from a concept standpoint. Not saying execution, playing well, playing poorly, but from a concept standpoint, do you see a huge difference? Because I do not.
Not necessarily, but it's the timing and making those adjustments when you see when it happens. Because they were right. They were playing a lot of man early and they switched up to zone. And the next thing you know, they didn't make those adjustments to be able to make those. And you think after like possibly like the second drive or second half, you get a good feeling like, wait, something's completely different here. Okay, we have a cover 3 beater here. We should start throwing those a little bit more. Even if you got to go to the back of the playbook or it wasn't initially as part of your game plan, you got it. You rep this whole entire offense and that different variations you can do, or you can go on the fly. You tag certain routes to go. Okay, you save, go say a whole entire line of plays or whatever, but you might have a certain play you've run before, but you tag like say AJ's route, or you tag the X and say, okay, run a long cross, or instead of running the go route you had in this one, or run this on that one, and you can make adjustments to beat those 3 because the line, say what you will, even with without Dickerson in the second half, they were giving him some time. And if you run some of those long crossers across, everybody knows the Eagles will run like to run mesh, so they're starting to probably defensive probably teach them watch the mesh on this one. Also, you got to watch out when teams are going to just continue to play zone, not only because it's successful, because they want to have eyes in that backfield because they want to make sure Barkley's not going to beat them.
Right.
Hurts. They want to make sure
it's interesting because the mentality coming in was Jalen was not great against the blitz, and he's been performing very well against the blitz, and against zone coverages, the numbers aren't good. It's crazy.
You can go back to last year. You see this blitz. It is like he continued to do that, and you're looking like, what? So teams started to do that, and they started playing more zone. And so you need your zone. You need more zone beaters. You need to find ways to get these guys open. Whether it's timing, whether it's sitting down in the right windows, or letting go a second quicker or a split second quicker in order to find that window before it closes up and the guy catches up on it. It's all through those, because then when you say if you get all that stuff, then maybe the line's not blocking as well. It's always one thing that's a little off right there. We just can't all get on the same. All levels can't get on the same page.
Chris, how do you evaluate Jalen Hurts this year, and how much of the offensive ineptitude do you put at his on his plate, if any? Maybe it's none at all. Whatever you have to say.
I can give the Jalen answer. I'll give Jalen answer. Get my answer. Jalen answers. We all have to do it. We all have to make sure we're on the same end. There's just so much time. But I look at some of those things. He hasn't been perfect, but I wouldn't put all the heap on his. I wouldn't put all of it down there, because there have been times where,
I agree with that.
like there. I was looking at the second half. I rewatched it and looking there. There were times where I thought he could have pulled the trigger a little bit sooner. I don't know why he didn't feel that way to do that. I thought there were times where he could have pulled the trigger when they started playing his zone, and it would have been in there. There are other times where you're looking and the way the Broncos would play, you gotta give them credit too, because Van Joseph's a good defensive coordinator. All the receivers were covered up, and he's trying to buy time and couldn't do anything. And that goes back to the route concept where you had one guy, you're trying to do you're running a cover four, a man-to-man beater, and all of a sudden, they're running cover four, and it takes both guys out because of the way it's designed and everything. So I think overall, when I look at what he's doing, if I had to give a grade, I'd probably say a B minus. Because I think when you look at the turnovers overall, you can't give this offense an A because looking at where they are, 30th in the league, you can't give anybody A's on that. But his decision making, his not turn the ball over, running when he needs to, and overall they're just taking care of. I'd probably say B and a half. It could be certainly better. A, if he pulls that trigger, is a little bit quicker. I think he can go up to the A a little bit more. But yeah, I don't think he's completely the problem.
Yeah, certainly not. It's always, and to Nick's been very big over the past couple of days on I'm not here to assign blame, which, all right. You better assign blame behind the scenes, but in front of us, it's somewhat understandable. But he's got that. What is the quote? When we don't master the things that require no talent, his quote with that's the stuff you got to fix. Whether it's penalties, mental errors, MEs, as they like to call them. One of the biggest issues with this offense to me, and it's not only, I think it's a league-wide problem, I've said pretty consistently, but it's a bigger problem in Philadelphia than most places, is they get to the line of scrimmage very, very late. And I think everybody wants to blame Kevin Patullo because it's easy to blame the coach and the play calls coming in late, but they've been consistently late in the entire tenure of Jalen Hurts. The problem is it's gotten really bad. That last year they were 31st in the league. This year they're last, but they're like 2 seconds worse this year, which is egregious. You saw it with the Saquon Barkley legal shift penalty. Part of the reason he got that penalty, and it was a penalty, was because he didn't have time to set. Because the snap had to come, or they were going to get delay a game. So I want you to assign the blame, Chris Franklin. You can assign it to more than one person, but I want you to assign the blame on who's the biggest problem with this issue.
Can I go sequential?
Yes.
I'm trying to go in my quote. You have to start with the play caller, and because you need to get you need to get a position groups, you got to get your packages on the field and what have you. So if you're looking over that, it's almost one thing you need to get it quicker because we see how many times we saw even before this game, you see your guys like, I don't know, whatever, or somebody else like that burn time out because he didn't have the people on there. So you need to make that process a little more efficient. I don't know if you can start to throw hand signals up a little bit more to tell what personnel's coming on or what have you. Most of them do. Most of the time they do. But I'd probably say something like that. Then it comes to the quarterback in the huddle. Is it an issue? And this is, I don't know about this because I'm not down in the huddle with that. And that. Is it an issue where they're not hearing the play as well? Is it an issue where the play call may be too long? It's mostly the same playbook that they have. So I don't foresee that. Maybe there's extra stuff that is going on that is taking the thing a little bit longer. Maybe the quarterback needs to speak up a little more. I don't know. And again, I don't know this, but maybe it's just slowly guys trying to hear it or whatever. That one too. Then you go into the thing. Is it if the play call is so different, you don't know what the heck is in front? Like you hear the play, you're like, this isn't going to work. Or you see in the blitz, their teams are starting to do that blitz, faking the blitz, and we're seeing more simulated pressures going against the Eagles now to try to do that. So you're trying to pick everything up. You look at, okay, he's the Mike, he's not going there, he's not going fast enough. What the heck is this one? All right, we're changing out this play. Maybe do something that's on the base stuff that we have on our play sheet. And then you got to make sure the guys know what's going on. And if guys are lined up on the wrong way, which we've seen a couple of times, somebody will line up one way and go the other way. So you got to wait for them to set. Oh, wait, I'm supposed to be over here. Okay, that one too. Now you got the motion going. There is like when I hear like there really is so much involved in the play call and making sure you get that. Oh, yeah, you only have 40 seconds, effectively, maybe 35 because you're walking. If you have guys walking back, running back for long routes, or the quarterback going out there trying to see that and all these changes. So it really is a long time. And
But can I
It
break
could be
in? Because you're right, Chris. All this stuff, and I've mentioned all this stuff before. I agree with you wholeheartedly. But at the end of the day, they're the worst in the NFL at it. That's where we are. They're 32nd of 32. So these other teams are all dealing with the same stuff you're talking about. And they're better than the Eagles at it.
And that's where I start to go. Is it the play? I look at the early process of that whole thing where is it the pack? Is it the right personnel coming in? Is it the little things that take extra time and they're able to reset and do that? That's why I look at that like that, and that starts to go more towards coordinator, quarterback area, and that's where you start to look at that. There's some, it's not 100% all on them because, like I mentioned, some of these guys line up in the wrong areas at first and they're going that way too, and we're coming on late to the field because they don't know what package they're going to be in there or not. So
All right.
that whole
And
thing.
there, and so we boiled it down to there, and I agree with you. So now I'm going to force you into
Oh,
the,
jeez.
I'm going to give you the, so
Uh-oh.
who's 51%, who's 49%? Who deserves more of the blame?
It really, if anything, if I gun to my head, I probably had to say Patullo more. Gun to my
All
head, I'd probably
right.
say that.
All right. There you have it.
Gun to my head. But there really is a lot of other exterior factors
Well,
that
I
will
agree.
play into that.
There's a ton. It could be a position coach getting the wrong personnel. It could be a bunch of different guys.
Does Jeff Stoutland deserve any blame for the running game? He is the run game coordinator.
Also, you can have the best run designs and everything else. You got 9 guys consistently in the box because you can't effectively pass the ball. As one
That's so
side
true.
has to help the other. So if
That's
you
so
run the ball
true.
effectively, teams are going to put more in the box or to play more zone like they're doing. So then that's where you need your receivers to be out there, be able to make plays. You need a quarterback to be able to throw the ball and do that. You have to have the right routes that are right there to help that out. All of a sudden, if you're effectively getting the ball downfield, get it quickly, and this passing game is really humming, you're putting teams back into that that uncertainty that they saw a lot more last year, where you really have to play these guys off. If you play cover 3 or maybe shift them in because you got to blitz them more because you want to get the ball out of Hurts, then all of a sudden they play into the Eagles game. So in order for the run game to really truly improve, the passing game has to be the thing that helps them out.
Yeah, that's fair as well. So I'm gonna put my crystal ball out here, and I'm gonna predict the Eagles win on Thursday night pretty easily. 31-13-ish, something like that. Pretty easy win because the New York Giants are an abject disaster. And no Malik Neighbors on top of it. Unfortunate injury. Hopefully you get out of MetLife Stadium with no injuries. That's number one. But the second part is, are we going to sit here after this dominant win and say, oh, well, the superstars had a meeting and everything's copacetic? Or are you going to say, no, the New York Giants were the penicillin to what was ailing the Philadelphia Eagles?
As far as anybody look at it, like if you get a big win, I think it alleviates a lot of fear, no matter who it is. It can be even if it's a Giant. You would love to have been one of these first 4 games. Like you would love to be like, say if it was the Chiefs or whatever, it was a true blowout win, something like that. You're like, okay, look at this. Okay, we beat the Chiefs. They're 2-3 now. There's so much issues there. Or a bigger name team, or say if it was the Lions, you did that, you feel a lot better. But you'll take any win. If it's a lowly division foe, what have you, going up to Jersey, going on the road, and then blowing a team out, because I think you feel a lot better. And psychologically, mentioned before, psychologically with this mini bye, you're not thinking as much as like, wow, we had to barely scrape by to get Giants, even though some issue that team's had their weird things in MetLife in like the last 3-4 years. I don't know what it is, but it's one of those things where you need this. You could use a win with a decent cushion would help out a lot psychologically, because if you go in there and you have to escape with a field goal over the Giants in a short week,
Oh, yeah, that'll be ugly too. If
we
they
all
have
know
to
how it's going to
scratch
go.
and claw to beat the New York Giants, that'll be ugly too, but not as obviously the upset. The whole house of cards comes crashing down with the upset. But I don't see that happening. I do think it's been an interesting week, but my take, and at C Franklin News, make sure you follow Chris on the X platform. Boy, I think this is the NFL. They've been living on the edge, Chris, and the edge bit them. You know, they've been playing all these games. It could have the same thing could have happened if CD Lamb catches the football in the opener, Travis Kelce catches the football in Kansas City. It could have already happened. You're counting on a blocked field goal. Could have already happened. If Joshua Carter could kick the ball more than 10 feet off the ground, it probably happens in that game. They've been living on the edge, and the edge bit them in the you-know-what. Are they overreacting to one loss with all this nonsense? Because I kind of think I would have just put my head down, short week. You don't even practice. Business as usual. Couple walkthroughs. Go dominate the New York Giants. That's how I would have handled it. Like that thought process or not?
I think if they were playing well enough, and you're looking at I think if the offense had looked completely better for two halves, and the defense just got worn out, whatever, and they lost to the Broncos, all right, I think that they'd be feeling okay. We knew a loss. They're not going undefeated, and frankly, I thought it looked like they should have. That Rams should have been a loss, and this really should have been a win. So it all even out and balanced out when it came to that. It was the Broncos Super Bowl. It felt like, with all the stuff we're hearing more and more now, but it's the best thing that probably would have happened is this way his schedule worked out is having this on Thursday night, because they can forget it quickly and they have a chance to go against the opponent they have. They can go quickly. So yeah, there's some truth. I think there's some truth to what you said in that as well too. I also think it's the best thing that happened to them was having this short week, and they were due for a loss anyway. I think there's the right amount of concern. I wouldn't call it full play, but I think it's the right amount of concern after the way they've been playing as a whole at the beginning of the season. It's the right amount of concern, because this team can do a lot better. You're waiting for them to finally put it together so they can go on this run that we've seen historically. They just need to figure this out thing soon before wait till week 9, whatever, and then you're like, oh boy, now all of a sudden, are we talking 1 seed, or are we talking 3 seed or 4 seed? So I don't think they'll get down to 3 or 4. I think the teams are good to do that, but when things start to add up, and if you don't find ways to get everything together, it can cost you, especially in the postseason, especially where your seeding is and your matchups to go have to face.
Yep, no doubt about it. Chris Franklin, great stuff today, man. Doesn't feel as much magic in the air after the loss, but we'll see if the Eagles can correct it and right the ship. Chris, we appreciate you joining in today. Make sure you guys follow him at C Franklin News and read all his work at NJ.com. Chris, thank you, brother. We appreciate it, man.
All right, thanks, guys. Y'all have a good one now.
Thanks, bud.
Thanks, Chris. There's Chris Franklin joining us right here on Birds 365. Johnny Mac, good show today, brother. A lot to talk about, John, in Eagle Land, as there legitimately always is, hence why we have a show called Birds 365. But good stuff, John, and we got some super chats to wrap it up. But I thought Jeff and Chris brought some good insight on the famous meeting.
The famous. It's already famous.
Yes, we've made it famous on our 2-hour show today.
Yeah. Hey, positive is better than negative. That's as far as I'll take it.
Yeah, but is it positive? I mean, I knew Jimmy put that out, but
well, that's how it was described. It was described as positive. I don't know what would have been negative.
Yeah, that's what I mean. What are they going to come? Hey, Jimmy, we had a meeting. It was negative.
Yeah, fist flying, I guess. So at least it wasn't. It wasn't negative. Yeah, I don't think it's that big of a deal either way. I don't think it's going to help much, and I don't think it's going to hinder much, to be honest.
Yeah, that's fair enough. Fair enough. John, we got some supers. Let's get to them. We appreciate everybody for being here today. Vulnerable Vitality. What's up, brother? He says, has anyone verified the stat that for the Eagles, snaps under center result in 80% pass plays and snaps and shotgun are 80% runs? That you might have
that doesn't.
That's inverse, right? I think.
Yeah, that does not.
If that's the case, wholly predictable.
Yeah, it's not the case. No.
It's not. But there was a stat out there about. It wasn't this.
Under center, they're very obviously run heavy because Jalen is not used to. Most modern quarterbacks are not used to being under center as much because all they do leading up throughout their college careers is playing shotgun or pistol. So most of them are far more comfortable in those situations than they are under center. And that's not an Eagles problem. That's a college football, building around college football problem, because that's what guys are comfortable with.
No doubt about it. Appreciate it. Vulnerable vitality. Good stuff. Blaze checks in. What's up, dude? It's not about taking a loss. We haven't played a complete game all year on offense. Oh, looks like shit. Play calling is shit. Something is off personally.
Well, the offense has looked like shit.
Yeah,
I would
it
argue
has.
it's looked like shit for a long time.
Well, they ran the ball a lot better last year, which is a big part of it.
Well, yeah, that is the biggest part. And the offensive line was, again, I think the offensive line is the key to it all. And last year you had one of the best offensive lines in the history of the sport, and that's not that's not any hyperbole at all. One of the best offensive lines ever. And they haven't had that so far this year. They've just had a run-of-the-mill good offensive line, which is still better than the vast majority of the league, but nothing compared to last year.
Yep. Good stuff there. Blaze, thank you, brother. Charles Menifee, what's up, Charles? Wonder how the meeting, in quotes, makes the coaches feel.
Yeah, good question. I imagine they think of it the same way I said. If it's positive, it's positive. But, if there's a bigger problem, that's Nick Sirianni's issue, not anybody else's. So he's got to find a way to fix it. I just don't think this meeting is very meaningful either way. As I said a number of times, positive or negative. I don't think it makes that much difference.
It's fair enough. Roll Philly. One more says, J-Mac is so enlightened. Us fans just don't get it. Roll Philly's taking some shots at you today, John.
I might be more enlightened than Roll Philly, but that's is what it is.
It is what it is right. All right, Johnny Mac, a couple minutes left in the show today, man. John, I asked Jeff Kerr this question, and I'm going to ask you this question as well. What is the biggest concern, top three concerns on this Eagles team now? They're 4-1. The loss kind of, I guess, allowed some people to have some conversations that they were unwilling to have when they were winning every football game. Certainly not us. We talk about everything no matter what. But your top three, right now for this Eagles team, if they do want to try and put it together and make a deep run here.
Well, number one, I'll get back to what I said before. The coaching staff has to stop listening to whatever outside, inside voices, whatever you want to portray it on, whatever. They need to get back to what they want to do and what they do well. That's number one. Don't get out of character. Number two, getting the offensive line healthier. And number three, I think, would be the more consistent pass rush, but I don't know if that's coming because you might have some issues there, especially with Jalen Carter being banged up.
What percentage of blame, or not blame? I don't like the word blame, honestly, but what percentage on the plate do you put for Kevin Patullo in this struggle early year in the offense here?
Well, I thought he had a very poor game against Denver, so more this week than normal. I think the whole loss is on Kevin and Nick's plate. I really believe that because they were so uncharacteristic, so away from what they typically do, just to prove a point.
Can I just play devil's advocate on this for a second? But I'll say this. I do agree with you. I just want to ask this question to get the other side of it and get more intel from you. If everybody tells me all the time, and especially that play, the wheel route to Saquon that resulted in the touchdown, if everybody gives credit to Jalen there for checking into that play at the line of scrimmage, should Jalen have shoulder some of that when they don't run the ball at all in the second half? Like, you either have autonomy at the line of scrimmage or you don't, or is that the wrong way to look at it? What do you think?
No, it's fair. I mean, but again, I think it all comes down when it comes to autonomy, it's really limited in the modern game. And two, they're getting out of the huddle too late to use that autonomy. At times, at least, again, 32nd in the league, where Chris and I would differ again because she shipped it when I tried to get him. All right, 51-49. Who are you going to? Remember, they were 31st last year with Kellen Moore. This is not a new problem.
Right.
They were 32nd this year. They're even worse. So it's gotten worse.
Are they 32nd in the passing game right now?
No, 32nd in getting to the line of scrimmage.
Getting to the line of scrimmage. Gotcha.
They were 31st last year. So it's not new. It's not a new problem, but it's gotten worse. It's gotten even worse. So you can't blame it just on the offensive coordinator. It's been a problem for years. And again, it's a problem in the NFL as a whole. But it's worse here in Philadelphia. So plenty of blame to go around. Everybody's involved. Everybody's got a piece of it. Kevin Patullo certainly has a piece of it. Nick's got the biggest piece of all, and he takes that, and he'll admit that. But the quarterback is a big piece of it as well. And so does the offensive line, and so does Saquon, and so does AJ. Everybody. And Devontae. I don't want to leave Devontae out. Too many people leave Devontae out. But remember, with this meeting on Friday, you go back and look at the interview we had with Devontae Smith. I asked about these difficult conversations. He said they were going on. AJ said they were going on.
Right. Well, this is why, John, I don't think it was about the offense, because that's why would you not have Devontae there? I think this was about the personal relationship between A.J. Brown and Jalen Hurts. I don't know if I'm right. I have no evidence to prove I'm right.
And again, then I don't think that's that meaningful is kind of my point. If it's not, but first of all, the offense, you're right. The offense has an offensive meeting every day. That's what they do. Where the whole offense is there. Devontae's there, the offensive line, Saquon, AJ, Jalen, everybody's there. And everybody's included. So, I mean, if you're going to boil everything down to personal relationships and think that's going to fix something.
Yeah, that's fine.
Yeah, I don't put as much stock into that as most other people. I think that's more of the gossip category. And like, I don't think it has much meaning on the actual football team. How about run the football? Which is all Philadelphia wants to do, and nobody seems to.
17-3, and you don't want to run it.
And that's the point. You're up 2 touchdowns, and you're not running the football. That to me is a microcosm of what went wrong against the Denver Broncos.
Fair enough, Johnny. Mac, good show today, brother. Your final thought before I let you run. But real quick, the agenda today. I guess it's coordinator day, right? We have a quick week, John, this week.
Yeah, Vic's going to talk about 12:45-ish. Kevin Patullo's not going to talk, and Jalen Hurts in the open locker room is not till 5:10 in the afternoon. So it's going to be a while till you hear from Kevin Patullo and Jalen Hurts.
Yeah, no doubt about it. Good stuff. One more super chat. Blaze says Saquon setting up that meeting for AJ and Hurts is not a good sign. That's your $255 million quarterback and your $96 million wide receiver not getting along at all. Something is up. Well, we'll see what happens with it. So, Johnny Mac, good show today, brother. Appreciate you doing it. I will catch you tomorrow on a Wednesday edition of Birds 365.
Yeah, short week. The game's almost here. Let's get to it. But yeah, thanks, everybody.
All right, thanks, John. There's Johnny Mac, John McMullen. Make sure you guys follow him on X at JF McMullen. All right, the best Eagles beat reporter there is. We appreciate you, Johnny Mac. Thanks, everybody, for being here today. We do have a jersey giveaway today. All right, I got to do it quick. I don't know how much time I got today. I do want to talk to some of the people in the chat about this meeting. All right, I didn't exactly agree with everything that John had to say about the meeting. I'll say that much. I think it was Dabney who just said it was reckless speculation to say it was about Jalen and AJ's relationship, which I think is fair comment. It's certainly speculation. I wouldn't call it reckless, considering that Brandon Graham a year ago told us that it wasn't the same. So I don't know if Deshae wants to call that reckless. Maybe he does. Maybe he thinks that's reckless as well. But it's speculation. I wouldn't call it reckless speculation. We'll see. I mean, look, we'll see. I more look at it as a good thing than John does. I mean, I don't think it's the end-all, be-all. I don't think it's going to be the reason that your offense starts humming. But if you do have an issue where two grown men who are as good of players as they are, aren't on the same page, let's get them on the same page, Let's get them on the same page. I responded to you. Did you not get it? I've been having an issue with my emails going to spam. Pin, I did respond to you yesterday. I'm looking at it now. I responded 2 minutes after you sent the email. 11:24 you emailed me. 11:26 I responded. All right, Pin. So I don't know if it's in your spam folder. Pin, check that out. All right, I did respond to you, brother. I didn't leave you hanging. Don't worry. KP says, is that you, Kenny? We used to have a Kenny P in here, but not these damn names. They just, I don't understand. Okay, Kenny, I got you. Give me 1 sec, guys. Just managing something here. All right, thank you. Yeah, I don't know why YouTube did it, but it is what it is. Brian says, what's up, Brian? Yeah, I don't like that AJ says not on the same page and in the same breath says he didn't talk to Jalen about being on the same page. Well, maybe that's what Saquon's addressing. Like, I don't know. Sometimes I think, for as smart as John is, sometimes I think he misses on simple things. Again, John says it all the time. They're human beings. They're not robots. They're not Madden players, So if they're not on the same page, bring the two grown men together and have the conversation. I think stubbornness, because I can be stubborn. Believe me, I can be stubborn. Holy shit, I can be stubborn. But at the end of the day, stubbornness has pros and cons, and both of those players have reached ultimately the levels that they've reached because. Wait, JD, you weren't here when I addressed this. JD. Sorry, I lost my train of thought. JD, I don't know what's going on. Did you give me the wrong address? I sent your shirt 2 weeks ago now. Everybody else got their shirt except for you. It says delivered now. It says delivered. It says delivered, JD, for the shirt. Delivered in mailbox. Oh God, JD, I said this on the show. I was looking for you last week, and I said, "Did anybody seen JD?" Because I'm getting a UPS or a postal service issue with him. I don't know. JD, email me. I'll email you the tracking here, so you know what the hell we're looking at. Here. I got you, brother. I know, because you're the Bama guy. Let me just send this to my boy JD3. I always like to make sure everybody knows what the hell is going on. JD, I just emailed you. That's for the shirt I sent you. He sold that shit. Well, he didn't get much money. It was a t-shirt. Deshae was a fucking t-shirt. It was an Eagles Super Bowl t-shirt. In Alabama, what are you getting for that at a fair in Alabama? $8? I don't know, man. Texas boy says he's here for the Eagles' downfall. Texas boy, no downfall here. I'll give you credit though. Your Cowboys are playing decent right now. All right, the Cowboys are playing decent right now. All right, JD, I just emailed you, brother. Did you? I guess you didn't get the hat either. I don't know, man. I don't know what's going on with your ad. I think you gave me a shoddy address. I think that's what happened. And now you're going to come in my chat and blame it on me. Let me check on my orders. Dirty Air, your sweatshirt's still being printed. Brandon Howard, your sweatshirt, your merch is still being printed. It's almost shipped. Abe, your shit is being printed. It's almost shipped. JD, here you are. Let me look at the hat tracking now. It says delivered. Delivered October 6th. Yo, JD, get your head out of your ass. JD3, get your head out of your ass. Hat tracking. Did you give me a shoddy address, dude? You ordered the hat from the site, so I didn't even input the address. This dude, JD. I knew this guy was a goober. I'll know in 5 minutes. All right, JD. All right, dude. KCA says he's scamming for more free shit. I ain't sending it. I ain't sending more free shit. 9561, and he said his package got stolen. And I'm like, oh, fuck, that sucks, dude. I don't know what you want me to do. I don't got any more shirts your side. And then he texted me a couple days later. He's like, hey, they found the package for me. I'm like, all right, good. All right, good. Yeah, Kimberly, we got a jersey giveaway coming up. All right. Let me actually get that ready now. I did want to see some people's takes on the meeting, though. All right, on the meeting. All right. I did want to see some takes on the meeting. Let me see if I can find a couple. All right. All right, Pin, I'll get back to your email once I get off the show. Rich says he got his hat. Rich, you like the hat, brother? I'm happy you got it. Tyler Gorbett says, what's up, Tyler? I'm with Zander. The meeting was about improving the relationship between AJ and Jalen. If this was an offensive meeting, it would have included Jordan and Lane and Devontae. Ultimately, hope it helps the offense. That's fair. Kind of what I was thinking as well. Deshae says, Zander, it's about to get cold. You need some JAKIB beanies. We got beanies on the site, brother. We got beanies on the site. Actually, where's my beanie? Down here? Nah, I think I put all my beanies away upstairs. I got my JAKIB beanies. I had multiple different beanies. All right? I had multiple different JAKIB beanies. JAKIBmerch.com. Go check them out. Cody B, I kind of think you might be onto something with this. People aren't going to like it, but he says, I feel like the meeting is a Bob Lang PR stunt. It could be. KP says, I think they jumped AJ. Smitty was sitting in a dark corner watching because of the Hail Mary. Maybe. All right. Paul Turner says, Denver, yeah, baby. LOL. Look, you got to tip your cap. Denver played a good football game. Denver beat us the exact way they were supposed to beat us. Make the game late, a fourth quarter game, low scoring, and take advantage of the opportunities when they come. They scored on 3 straight drives to end the game. We never took it out of reach. We had plenty of opportunities to extend that game or to extend the lead in that game and not even give them a chance of life at the end. They did, and they won the game, you know? I agree with you, Fly Goes Fly. She says, we are not playing like we could. The meeting can't hurt. At least I don't think. I agree with you. I don't see how it hurts. Now, John, to be fair, John did say that. He just doesn't think it's going to help either. Roll Philly, you were giving John a hard time today. He says, I think it was proof that it was never about the offense with AJ. I feel like it's been about him and Jalen the whole time. Well, Roll Philly, that's kind of why I brought up this point, and I'm not trying to criticize AJ Brown here, but I was talking to my pop yesterday when after the show when we were talking about, you know, just AJ and Jalen and all that stuff. And, you know, my pop's like, AJ's not on Jalen's level mentally. And at first I didn't know exactly what he meant. But the more I thought about it, the more I wondered if he was correct. Because when there's people with the mentality that Jalen has, it does copy people who have rarefied mentalities. Kobe, Jordan, Brady a little bit, just like dudes that are so focused, so locked in, so only give a shit about one thing, winning. Like you can't teach that. And Jalen has that. And that's not going to make everybody feel so good. Now, maybe I'm talking it up too much. Maybe it's not. Maybe I'm giving Jalen too much credit. But the second I said that to my pop, I'm like, yeah, Jalen and AJ, or John called Jalen aloof, and my dad's like, yeah, well, that's because they're not on his level. And I'm like, it's an interesting take. It's an interesting take. Oh, cool, JD. Did you get them both, dude? Did you get them both, JD? Yeah, Dank. I'm really not trying to come at AJ at all in that regard. I love AJ. I think he's a great football player. I think he's an open, deep person. I think he seems to me like a good dude. I'm not trying to attack him at all, Dank. I more meant like Jalen is so focused on the mission and so unmoved and unswayed by any of the optics, the metrics, the outside noise, or anything that, I don't know. I don't know. I hear you. Okay, I got you, Dank. Yeah, which I don't think is all fair, by the way, on AJ, some of the criticism of him. Roll Philly says, I think your pops is right. Nick Saban instills that in players that don't have it, but Jalen already had it, so it made it even more. There's no doubt, Roll Philly. Jalen's a rare breed, and then you couple him with that mentality, you got a rare player, man. There's no way. There's no doubt. No, Dank, I don't think AJ's immature, but I do think AJ's a little bit more emotionally reactive than Jalen. And that's not a knock on AJ because Jalen's one of the least emotionally reactive persons I've ever seen. It's almost admirable in a way. I do like that part of Jalen. I said when they won the Super Bowl last year, I always said this. I said it on the shows many times. Jalen is who he says he is, Danny says, Danny, you think it all changed after that Super Bowl loss? I believe that's when he started to distance himself from that point. Well, I think that's when Jalen, really honed in on what mattered and what didn't. Fuck the stats, fuck the optics, fuck the metrics. Sorry, I shouldn't be cursing that much. Screw all those things. I just want to win. I just want to do whatever it takes to win week in and week out. And maybe that's made Jalen a little bit of a cold person. And that's okay. Not everybody got along with Kobe. Not everybody got along with Jordan or Brady. But I do think there's an element, like if this is the case, and again, I don't know if it is. I'm just throwing it out there. If it is the case, it is on Jalen to elevate those around you, right? I mean, you need those guys to go the distance to accomplish what you're trying to accomplish. So if AJ is not on your level, for lack of a better way to put it, you got to help him come to where you are. You got to help him see it from your perspective. You got to help him understand what your goal is for the team and why it's your goal. So I don't know. Look, it's a complex issue. I hope that it works itself out. We'll see if the meeting does that. Matt says, I didn't like J-Mac's take about the meeting all day. Those meetings are about football. I think it was obvious for Saquon to realize the recipe. Barkley's a gifted leader. Mic'd up proves it. Well, I think that's a good point, man. I do think Barkley deserves some credit here. You have an issue. Barkley's probably the dude like, yo, why are we hearing about this all over the place? Let's just address this thing. AJ, Jalen, let's go. Let's have a conversation. I get it. I think Saquon is a great leader. There's no doubt about that. But yeah, Dank, agreed. The timing of the penalties is brutal. Roll Philly says, I don't know if Jalen distanced himself. I think he dedicated everything to the mission, even at the Roll Philly, those things are hand in hand. Because he dedicated himself so much to the mission that it naturally distanced himself from people who weren't able to get to that level. And R. Anthony, I don't know why people. Sometimes I think people are way too sensitive about Jalen Hurts. He says, what's wrong with wanting to win at all costs? Brother, nobody here is criticizing Jalen Hurts. Okay, R. Anthony? He's a grown man. Okay? We can speculate. We can discuss. We can talk about it. Nobody's criticizing Jalen. All right? Some Eagles fans, man, they get their panties in the bun. Jalen doesn't need you to defend them. Okay? In every single thing that's said. He's a grown man. He's a responsible man. He's a successful man. Okay? Relax. Holy shit. Texas T, what's up, Texas T? I need your take on this. She said, someone posted his tweets from when he was in Tennessee. Apparently, he's not new to online complaining, which was one of the reasons they didn't mind trading him. Wouldn't surprise me at all. Wouldn't surprise me at all. I didn't say Jalen's worried about his image. Matt says, do you think Jalen had become so close to the coaches in the corporation that he left his boys hanging sad on the bench? No, I don't think that. I don't think that, Matt. Catch says, look at Hurts' passing game. Blows. It does blow. It does blow. Ray says, my Jalen Hurts alarm went off. Who's talking shit? It smells like bitch in here. I'm not. Nobody's talking shit on him. Reyes, I'm actually giving him credit. Reyes, my take, Reyes, earlier. Well, my dad's take, to be fair. I was talking to my pop yesterday on the phone after the morning show. We were discussing some business, and then we just got to talking about football as we normally do. And I brought up that John said, called Jalen aloof and maybe out of touch. And my dad's immediate, like he didn't even think about it. His immediate response was, well, that's because they're not on Jalen's level mentally. That's because they're not on Jalen's level. And I'm like, what do you mean by that? And he's like, well, Jalen is so committed to winning and greatness, and sometimes that alienates people. John always says this too, which is why I don't understand why John didn't see this today. When you have a room of 53 men, getting them all on the same page is not that easy. It's not that easy at all. And whether it's religion in the case of Carson Wentz, or it's the, unwaning desire to win for Jalen Hurts. The reality is, guys, I know we love our Eagles players. Some dudes are just there for the paycheck. Some dudes don't care about winning as much as some other dudes. Some dudes are there because they don't want to get fined. Some dudes are there because they want to put food on the table for their families and want to go home. Some dudes don't give a fuck about it to that level. Chris says, yeah, your dad's 100% right. Chris, I thought it was a good take too, man. Catch says his EQ is looking pretty shitty if AJ has to keep complaining. I don't know, man, because AJ, I love AJ and he's a phenomenal football player, but I don't necessarily know if we could give AJ a cop out. I mean, look, he's a little bit of an emotional guy, right? For better or for worse, for pros or cons, that's what he is. So I think part of that has made him a great receiver. Part of that has detriments. I think Jalen is solely focused on the right things, and getting everybody on that level. That's where he might have to be better. But I did think my pop was on to something with the way he worded it. Chris says, if when I get to Philly for my first Birds game, I live in Southern Illinois, it'd be awesome to have a coffee with you, Zander, and your pops. He just sounds and appears to be an amazing. He is. Best dude I know, that's for sure, Chris. All right. So, and my Hurts alarm start ding-a-linging. Bruce, you've been red hot in the chat recently, which doesn't happen often, Bruce. So savor it for a little bit. All right, let's do this giveaway. Remember, you don't have to be present today because this is the giveaway for I want to set this up as a premiere real quick. Give me a second. John, how about John calling the meeting? Performative. Oof. By the way, for those wondering, I don't know if John wants me to say this, but I said it in the chat. For those wondering, yes, somebody reached out to John to express their displeasure with his comments yesterday on the program. Okay? Somebody reached out to John to express their displeasure with his comments yesterday on the program. So for anybody who thinks that these guys don't get talked to, you're wrong. John said it immediately to me. He said, "Thanks for posting that clip up, Zander." That's what he said to me. And he said, "I'm not mad at you. I should have known." But my point is that John doesn't, that's why he doesn't say things. He's not mad at me for posting it, but then he goes into this mode of I can't say things because if it does get posted, then they're going to talk to me about it. It's a joke, man. It's annoying. It is what it is. I mean, look, what am I going to do? Sit here and complain about it? No, I'm not. But yes, they did say something. Yes, they mentioned to John that they were upset with the comment that he made. It is what it is, what it is. Freedom of press. There's not really, I mean, you get that, but you also don't get that because the private company Eagles are technically allowed to do whatever they want. But it is what it is. Yeah, the aloof comment and the Carson Wentz comment. Aloof, Carson Wentz, in that order. All right. Yeah, Dank, I agree. I agree. I'm not saying you're wrong, Dank. I'm just telling you the reality of the situation. If you wonder why John doesn't sometimes, go into all or give all his opinions or be unfiltered about things, it's because of that. Now, I've told John very clearly that your value to JAKIB is not solely determined by the fact that you have a credential. Is it nice? Absolutely. But we'll figure it out. It is what it is, man. And I'm not, again, this is how these dudes feed their family, the reporters. So I'm not going to get mad at them for placating to the Eagles, when it's what they do. The Eagles know they have leverage. The Eagles use their leverage, and they do it to boost their image, which, Dank, if you think it boosts their image, that's fine. It is what it is. They're very petty. They really are. It's why the reporting in the team is not what it once was. Yeah, Roll Philly, he said that very clearly. He says, we got reached out and talked to, did he get fired? No, he works for JAKIB. He doesn't work for the Eagles. They don't pay John. I pay John. I mean, he's allowed to say it, and the Eagles are allowed to say they don't like it, and that's what he said to him. But he just has to deal with it. He has to put out the fires, and sometimes it's not worth putting out the fires. He did mention this too, Deshae, that Hurts will probably say something to him. I agree, Texas T. It is what it is. WIP says a whole lot. But I guarantee you, Texas T, they get calls too. Boast image equals hide failure. Correct. Those two things are one and the same. I wish the Eagles would contact me to be the chat liaison. Yeah, and what are you making, Reyes? I want a kickback. Reyes. I'll block your ass. No more chat liaison. They also pay to say a lot. Correct. They pay $10 million a year, for those who do not know. It's $10 million a year. That's what it's up to now. WIP's contract, $10 million a year to pay the Eagles so that they can be the official provider of the Philadelphia Eagles. $10 million a year. 10 M's a year. Can we raise 10 M's in Super Chat? I'll present it. If you guys want me to come up here and just not be myself and just give you Eagle, I will. I don't care. If I'm going to make millions of dollars, I don't give a fuck. I'll come up here and lie. Actually, I don't know if I could, honestly. I got too many principles for that. I don't know if I could. Jason says, what a waste of money. Well, Jason, from a business perspective, it's absolutely not a waste of money. You know how many advertisers they get to be the voice of the Eagles, to be the official station of the Philadelphia Eagles? The Eagles put out media. The Eagles put out things. WIP's on it. WIP's on the sideline boards. WIP has access to the sideline. WIP gets all that access. So, I understand what you're saying, but at the end of the day, it's worth it from a business perspective if you want to talk strictly business. All right, they're paying $10 million so that they can bring in a boatload of advertisers. All right, I don't pay that money. I pay John and I pay Cilio. We create content. We try and reach Eagles fans. And I've always tried to be honest and truthful with my words and what I say and how I feel about things, whether people agree or don't. I try and create a good environment where Eagles fans, whether they like me or don't like me, they can come here and voice that and voice their own opinion about the team. And that's what I've tried to build. But I understand that it's not as simple for John to say that. John's not in my shoes. John's in the organization every day, in the building every day. It's hard for me to feel for J-Mac, Big Z. I mean, that was quite a defamatory statement about Hurts without calling him Wentz without the religion. I don't agree with that, Roll Philly. I don't agree with that. Maybe that's how you took it, but I don't agree with that at all. I don't think that was that bad of a comment. His point wasn't that Jalen's an asshole. His point was that Jalen's way of going about it, which is undeniably a good way, in my opinion, cares about winning, cares about the things that matter. That alienates people. Again, we don't have to go back into the conversation of when you have 53 men in a room. Some are there for money. Some are there to feed their family. Some are there, they don't really give a shit about the success of the team. You got 53 men in a room making millions of dollars. Do you think they're all really there for the purpose of winning for the Philadelphia Eagles? I mean, use your head. You know? JD3 says, the reason we're here every day and have the most active and the most informed community in Eagles talk is because we get the truth in all sides at JAKIB. I agree. And I never want to change that. You know, JD, could I be doing better in business if I didn't have that take? You could maybe make an argument I would. You can maybe make an argument I would. I mean, JD, all you got to do is go look around at all the Eagle truthers, you know, who don't tell you how they actually feel. They just give you the load of shit that every fan wants to hear, which I think is stupid. By the way, this dates back to way before I was in this business. I've never been that way as a fan. In fact, I don't like fans like that. Reyes, you're like that. I love you, Reyes, so I like you personally. But your style of fandom has never been my style. I've always asked questions. I've always been, what's the truth? I've always wanted to know the inner world. If I spend my time on something, whether it be cars or it be sports or it be the Eagles, I like to know the work. I like to know more than just the surface. I like to know more than just about, okay, they won. Woo, yeah, go team. See you next week. I've always been that way. I don't really give a shit if people don't like it. And I also don't need everybody to think like me. I'm perfectly fine with people being like Reyes, you know, who just don't give a shit about anything but the win or the team or parading for the team. I'm not like that. Which, again, teach his own. I'm good with everybody being different. I have no problem with that. Kenny said, I think John needed to clean that comment up because it came off like he was implying Hurts is an asshole. Well, Kenny, let me ask you something. I'm an asshole. I believe I'm an asshole. Is Jalen an asshole? And is that a problem? What, are we afraid of assholes now? Not allowed to be an asshole? What, to be a quarterback of a football team, you got to be a buddy nice guy? Tom Brady was an asshole. Brett Favre was an asshole. Like, you know what I mean? Like, I don't think implying Hurts is an asshole is that big of a deal. I really don't. So what? He's an asshole. He's the quarterback of the football team. He's trying to lead 53 men. You know? I don't need you to be some buddy nice guy. I don't think that matters. But I get your point. Yeah, Aaron Rodgers is an asshole. I got news for you guys. A lot of people are assholes. I'm an asshole at times. You know? Doesn't mean you're a bad person, by the way. Doesn't mean you're a bad person, by the way. Being a good person is a lot different than being an asshole in your business or in your work or in whatever it is you do that gives you meaning in life. You know? It did not imply he's not religious, Roll Philly. That's what I mean. He and John said that. He said, I shouldn't have used the religion thing because I knew people were going to take it that way. Come on, man. That's not what John meant at all. It has nothing to do with whether Jalen is religious or not. It was not the point of the comment. For Carson Wentz, religion is what alienated people. He said religion is not what alienates people with Jalen, but sometimes it's his mentality and his approach to the game that can alienate some people. Roll Philly, dude. Use your ears. Use your critical thinking skills. Come on, dude. I'm trying not to roast you, but holy shit, you might turn me into an asshole today. All right, let's do this giveaway. All right. Love all you guys. Appreciate all you guys. Even you, Roll Philly. I'm just messing with you. All right. Again, I just said it. It's part of why I love this channel, because we can have different conversations. All right. Kenny says, I think you're taking asshole wrong. I mean, in the sense that he can't go along. Well, maybe that's fair, Kenny. Again, is Jalen Hurts just operating above most of these guys mentally? You know? All right, let me get the membership list. We're doing a giveaway. Remember, you do not have to be, technically, you don't have to be present today for this giveaway. All right. Roll Philly, did you just upgrade, or was that a renewal? Did you just upgrade? Thank you. Thank you, anybody that's a member. We appreciate all of you guys for doing it. All right. It means a lot to me, and it goes a long way in helping keep us on the air. I just mentioned I don't pay the Eagles $10 million. You guys would be surprised if you knew how on the margins we were and how close we are to, every month your super chats and your memberships legitimately keep us on the air. So I do appreciate it. All right. I do appreciate it. And I thank you guys for being here, for sharing your opinions, and for sticking with us, whether you like it or don't. All right. We won't be for everybody, but we will be for some people. Let me get the member list. Appreciate you guys. Current level. Let's go family. Thank you to my family members here. Family, this is YouTube channel. Okay. Fly Eagle Slide. Thanks for, I don't know if you upgraded or you just renewed. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. Let's go fan. Joe H. Thanks for coming a member, brother. Appreciate everybody for becoming a member. I'll take some of your guys' comments in a second. I'm just pulling this member list. At the end of the day, I will say this today. I don't have to take that, John, that the meeting is completely pointless and performative and stupid. I mean, I understand that perspective as a man where what are we doing here? But I don't agree with it in this instance. All right. Again, we just talked about Jalen as a certain style and it doesn't work with everybody. Well, maybe this is part of the continuation or part of the evolution of his style that he has to put more stock in because people like AJ won't get on board if he just does it his way only. Maybe it plays into how he's got to do it. Potentially. All right. So we'll see. I can't wait for Sill's take on it. It should be good, man. It should be good. We'll see. Hysterical Purple. It was Hysteria Purple. Come on, man. Big D said, Big D is a weird name, but he says, do you really think Jalen Hurts is limited? I think every quarterback in football is limited. All right. I know fans think that there's these quarterbacks that you can make on Madden and you go in their sliders and you turn everything they have up to a 99 and then you can run and you can throw and you can play the deep ball and you can play the screen game and you can run. You can do everything. That doesn't exist in the NFL. Every quarterback has things they're good at and things they're not as good at. It's the nature of the beast. Some are better than others, okay? Jalen has certain limitations in his game, just like every quarterback has limitations in their game, right? What I do know is this. We went to 2 Super Bowls in 3 years with him at the helm, all right? We've had the most successful run in franchise history with him at the helm. So if you're asking me if I think he's so limited to the point that we can't be successful, my response would be a resounding fuck no. Do I think he's 100% perfect in every area? No, I do not. No, I do not. All right. All right, here we go. I'm pulling the member list now. I will say this. I think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football right now. All right. I do think Josh Allen's the best quarterback in football right now. I do. I think he's just playing. He lost the other night. I understand that. But Harrison Bryant gets 99. Jalen's a lethal player. I agree 100%, Tank. He can kill you in ways that you do not want to be killed by a quarterback. Lucius says, hope you're having a great morning show. Lucius, appreciate you, brother. Lot to talk about today. Whoa, Catch. Thank you, brother. $40 super chat. Thank you, brother. He says, Colts are my alt team now. Eagles need a house cleaning. Pressure on J-Mac pisses me off. Catch, new regime or not, house cleaning or not, that's not going anywhere. The pressure on J-Mac. Colts are your alt team. Why is that? Is it because of Shane? You know, the Jaguars are my alt team because of Doug, because I love Doug Peterson. One second. Oh, man. This thing keeps fucking. You've got to be kidding me. All right, that should be good now. Let's see. Texas T says, I think it was needed, but I hate whoever blabber about it. It was nothing that needed to be made public. More stuff to distract and keep up the mess. Well, Texas T, I'm going to be honest with you about this. Texas T, I think this came from the Eagles organization. I don't think anybody opened their mouth about it. I think it was very intentional. Why? One reporter got it. One. Jimmy Kempski. One reporter got it. And go and read. Let's read Jimmy's tweet together. Let's read Jimmy's tweet together. I'm told Jalen Hurts, A.J. Brown, and Saquon Barkley had a long, positive conversation today. Lasted a couple hours. A long, positive conversation. That was given to Jimmy. That was given to Jimmy by someone in the organization. And yes, that happens a lot in the NFL. I think the national guys get all the stories first. I think it was intentionally put out. I agree with Texas T. I agree with your premise. I'm happy the meeting happened. I don't think it needed to be reported. But if it was really just a meeting with AJ, Jalen, and Saquon, think about this. Let's walk through this for a second, guys. If AJ Brown, Jalen Hurts, and Saquon Barkley had a meeting, are any of us really of the belief that one of those three men would go and talk to a media person about it? In what was a private, closed-door meeting, not open to the media, not in the locker room, not said at a press conference or a podium. This was a closed-door meeting. Does anybody really believe one of those three players would leak it out? I certainly do not. I know Jalen Hurts wouldn't, and I know Saquon wouldn't. I guess maybe some people could say maybe AJ would because he loves social media and shit. But I think that was intentionally put out. All right. I think it was intentionally put out. But it is what it is. That's what I mean. Not a chance. I don't buy that they put it out. But I do agree with your premise, Texas T, that it doesn't need to be talked. It didn't need to get out. But leave it to the Eagles PR staff to be so worried about the image. It's legitimately they will go to hell or high water, almost to the point where I think it undermines the meeting a little bit. Like if you're the players, think about this. If you're the players and you have that meeting and you walk out of there feeling productive, and then it gets reported and you're like, who the fuck reported that? Does it make the players question one another? Does it make them lose trust in one another? Does it make them feel differently about the meeting itself? I think it's counterproductive from an organizational standpoint to try and put it out so that the narrative changes. I do. I think that part of it is counterproductive. I don't think they need to put it out. I don't think you need to release that if you're the Eagles PR staff. But again, they do what they do, man. They don't care about us. They care about the image, and they're okay to care. They're entitled to. Catch, thanks for the big super chat, bro. I really do appreciate it. Blaze says, we all know Hurts isn't an elite passer. It's his mentalities and intangibles that make him elite. I would say it's more than just his mentality and intangibles, but that's certainly a big part of it. All right, that's certainly a big part of it. The Bull Era says, by tweeting this out, does that confirm that there is an issue between the team and Hurts? No, it does not. No, it does not. But I do think the issues between AJ and Jalen are true. All right. I do think that they're not exactly on the same page. Yeah, Catch, I'm worried about this too, dude. That MetLife turf, I hate that crap, man. Should be banned from the game. I don't even know why. We talk about how many times did I already say to them, they're a $10 billion organization. They can do what they want. Well, damn near every team in football is at the minimum of $5 billion, $10 billion. Excuse me, not $10 million. Damn near every team in football is a $5 billion organization. And you're telling me we can't fucking get a better playing field for these athletes to play on? That drives me crazy. That drives me crazy. All right, jersey giveaway. Remember, you don't have to be present, but you only have 24 hours to claim this thing. So we might be doing this again tomorrow because you guys know how this picker goes. How many times do we pick a name where you're like, hey, I don't know? They got 24 hours to claim the jersey. All right? 24 hours to claim the jersey. Okay? James, you're not even a member anymore, James. You're now on my shit list. I used to love you. I do love you still. But if you're not a member, I don't have to be nice to you. You're a shitty Commander fan. They stink. They're not that good. Jaden Daniels won't last longer than 5 years in the league because he's built like a twig and he runs like he's Cam Newton. And I don't think he's going to continue to be as good as he's been. I'm sorry, but that's my honest opinion on the Washington Commanders right now, James. It's my honest opinion on your shitty team. All right, here we go. Jersey giveaway. We got our list here. Big thanks to everybody that's a member on JAKIB Sports. Goes a long way. Thank you very much. Let's do the giveaway. One shuffle. Pull it. Come on, man. Come on. Jason, this is a good winner. And he'll get back to me. He'll get back to me. He will get back to me. I got my boy Jason on Twitter. All right. I got my boy Jason on Twitter. I think he's going to claim this. There he is. I got him on Twitter. All right. Keith, it's never been rigged. It's never been rigged. KCA, whatever jersey you want to pick. I got a bunch here still, and I got more, and I always say to people, I'll get whatever jersey you want as long as it's in my range. Like if somebody is the wrong size, here I have a Jalen Hurts in XL. Mr. Geezy says no sub giveaways. No, we only do giveaways to our members on the channel. We appreciate you for watching and for subscribing to the channel, but we only do giveaways to our members. So if you want to be a member and support the channel, we appreciate that, and you'll be involved in our giveaways. But no, we don't do any giveaways for subs. Okay, members only, and that's what it will always be. But I do appreciate you being a subscriber, and I don't dislike you for not being a member. You're just not going to have a chance to win a jersey, which is fine. All right. The wheel avoids minority. I would disagree with that heavily. I've had a litany of minorities win. I'm up to 22 winners. Pin won yesterday. Pin, I'll respond to you. Abe, Brandon Howard, Dirty Air. All right. Tony, Mad Bird, Frank from Philly, JD3, Lucius the Show, Twiz the Jigga, Thomas Farzetta, CZ, 956 Eagles, Mike Berghorst t-shirt, Thomas Gruber t-shirt, Tony, again with the Super Bowl hat and shirt, Sue won 2 shirts, Master Eagle won a Smitty jersey, Brian Waddington won 2 shirts, Joe Whip, I sent a Stout U sweatshirt, and Carver. We got a lot of giveaways, man. A lot of giveaways. 22 already this year. 22 already this year. All right, so we're on a good pace. I think we're going to get to 100. Texas T won twice. Texas T, thank you. You won last year. All right, you won last year. Took me a bit to send you your second one, but I did get it to you. All right. Thank you, Dank. That is 100% the truth. Thanks. So thanks, brother. He says, what's special about a member is supporting the channel? Exactly right. Again, Dank, whenever you open up giveaways, I do have to be aware that some people will opportunistically become a member, and that's fine. I'm giving away shit. You know, that's a part of it. That's a part of it. But I do always say, I hope you become a member not only to win giveaways, but to support the content that we do here because you like the content and you want the content to stay on the air for as long as possible. You know? So I appreciate that, Dank. All right. What are folks talking about? Z's giveaways are legit. Chuck, people always got some shit to say. Texas Boy says, I'm not a member. I'm here every day. Texas Boy, that's why I love you, brother. Texas Boy, I actually do love you. You are a good supporter here on JAKIB. All right. Even though you're a Cowboy fan. But I think, I think there's room for good trolling. I do. It's sports talk, guys. Isn't there room for some good trolls here and there? That's why I hate people who spam dumb shit. I'm just like, you're not even a good troll. If you're going to troll, be a good troll. Like Texas Boy's a good troll. He shows up and he shits on us for certain reasons, and he takes the talk that we give him back on the Cowboys. It is what it is. Ryan says, this channel is a part of my everyday work schedule. I appreciate that, Ryan. Roll Philly says, Big Z, I think Jalen is just the get with it or get lost type of leader, and I'm perfectly fine with that. Me and you both, my brother. Me and you both. I have no problem with that. Now, Roll Philly, here's the complex part of that, though. When you are that type of leader, you do have to make sure that you bring everybody along with you because this is a team game. We compared it to Kobe and Jordan. Kobe and Jordan could take over a game. Kobe and Jordan could be the sole responsibility for winning a series in the playoffs. Jalen can't do that. That's not a knock on Jalen. That's football. You could play the greatest football game of your life. You could throw for 500 passing yards. You could put the team on your back. But if the other 21 men in the room aren't bought in to what you're trying to accomplish and where you're trying to go, So that's where I would say if Jalen is that type of leader, part of his leadership is going to have to be that he makes sure everybody comes. Even if A.J. Brown's a prima donna, even if he's a crybaby, even if he's an emotional wreck, even if that is the truth, he's a damn good receiver and we need him to help go the distance. So do what you got to do to get him on board, Mister, thank you, bro. He says, love the content, Zander. And he became a member. So thank you, brother. You're now officially in on the giveaways. All right, brother? Appreciate you, Mr. Jeezy? Mr. Geezy? Mr. Geezy or Jeezy? I think Jeezy would be with a J, right? So Mr. Geezy, I like the name. All right? Thank you, brother. He said, look at this. This guy becomes a member 16 seconds ago, and he said, I never win. Yeah, dude. Dude, what do you mean you never win? You haven't even been involved in a giveaway. How many people have won a giveaway here? Look, I can go through the list right now. Big Trag has won a giveaway. James Jones, the shitty Commander fan, has won a giveaway. He's not even an Eagle fan and he won a giveaway. Eagle fan has won a giveaway. Brian Waddington has won a giveaway. Dank has won a giveaway. Who else won a giveaway? Jason A-Teams won a giveaway. JD3 won a giveaway. Come on, man. He's saying you ain't going to win. Come on, man. I think you're going to win. In fact, Mr. Jeezy, I got a weird feeling your name's going to pop up. Maybe even this week. Maybe even this week. Devin won a giveaway. All right. ZM says, Xander, pretty sure just thanks, ZM. Thanks, ZM, for clarifying. ZM, what would I do without you, ZM? Oh my goodness. What would I do, ZM? Shut up. F. Hammond the third. What's up, brother? He becomes a member. Thank you, my guy. Thank you, my guy. Park, I'm feeling a win for you, too. The world may never know. That's true. ZM, I don't know what I'd do, my friend. I'd be fucking cooked. All right? Give this man a job. That's pretty funny. That's pretty funny. 1 sec. Let me answer this phone call. All right. No emergency. No emergency. You hang up quick. Giveaways are for cousins only. I'm right. If that was the case, I'd have given you one. All right. Let me make sure I got all my chats. Here's Bull Arrow. What's up, brother? By tweeting this out, does that confirm? Oh, we already got that one. Thank you, dude. Thanks, by the way, for the members. Mr. Jeezy. Bud Scroggins gifted one. Thank you, Bud. Appreciate it, Bud. Very cool of you. And then F. Hammond, the third. I love that. Thank you, brother, for becoming a member, man. I appreciate you. Appreciate all of you guys. All right. Yeah, it was my girl. It was my fiance. Oh, you know what she's doing for me right now? That's what she was calling about. She was calling about. So I used to have the American flag. I don't even have the American flag on the display anymore because I'm out of them. I have 2 left. But these are my Z notes. These are what I sent my Z notes on. I wrote on here and did them with my giveaways. So I'm out of them. So she's let me guess her tummy hurts. That is the funniest comment of all time. But no, she's making me 100 more of the giveaway stuff for the cards. Yeah, fiance. That's right. So, and Sig Lord, you could probably take it to the bank that her tummy hurts too. All right. So she's making me new giveaway stuff for you guys. How about that? Bud Scroggins gets 5. Wow, Bud. Thank you, dude. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it. I appreciate it, man. I really do. Big Track says, my Z note is framed and hung up over the headboard. See, he writes that like he's kidding. The funniest part is, I don't think Drag is kidding. Drag, you know I love you, brother. Drag got a good jersey. Drag got the Bond jersey. Drag, that was a good jersey last year. And then he got the contract, Drag. That was Drag. You were one of my most memorable giveaways last year because of that. Because I remember having the Bond jersey and being like, this is a banging jersey because he played so good. And he played so good all the way through the years. But I'm like, shit, are they going to not pay a linebacker and he's going to be gone? And then they paid him and I was like, let's go. Yeah, Jason said I never got a Z-note. I had a personal meeting. Yeah, Jason, we got to have another one too. I got to give you your damn jacket. I don't want it anymore, Jason. It's taking up closet space. It's your name. It's got your name on it. Gregorio says, becoming a member. Can I get my 8-year-old a DeJean jersey? Absolutely. Absolutely. I've had several people do that. Josh B recently. Real Rich says, yo, Z, these roses, I think 60, Rich. Rich, what are you saying? They don't even make a dime. They make like $5 on those things. You know how much those beads cost? $35 for the beads. And then they sit there for 2 hours putting them together by hand. Now, if you don't want one, Rich, then you don't have to get one. You don't have to get one. But to think that that's an egregious price, that's not an egregious price at all. They're handmade, good bead rosaries. They're not plastic at all. All right. My wife is Margot Robbie. I've never been that. I think she's overrated. Z, I'm going to be down just past Hatboro tomorrow on Film on App. Got to drop my girl's car at the shop. Hatboro. Yeah, it's just tough for me in the middle of the week. All right. All right, everybody. I got to go. Let me go. I love all you guys. I appreciate it. All right. Thanks for being here today. Thanks for all the super chats and the memberships. Bud, thank you, brother. Bud, Mr. Jeezy. Love you, Mr. Jeezy. Appreciate it. F. Hammond, thank you, brother. Valera. How about Catch? Let's clap it up for Catch. Yo, Catch. Thank you, brother. I appreciate it, man. You sent 2 bangers this week. I appreciate it, Catch. All right. I like Catch takes too. Fly Eagles Fly upgraded her membership. Thank you, Cat. Fly Eagles Fly. You know I love you. JD3, thank you, brother. Vulnerable Vitality. It's hate week, motherfucker. I don't love you at all. All right? It's hate week. It's hate week, bitch. Eagles or Crimson Tide versus shitty-ass Missouri. We're going to beat you to a pulp this weekend. And then you're going to come in here and you're going to have to send me another super chat. So I acknowledge your brother motherfucking ass. And I tell you that the Roll Tide, Alabama, beat the brakes off of you. Thank you for the super chat, brother. Brian Garner, thank you, my friend. And Alexander Harris, thanks everybody. All right, for all the chats today. Okay. Appreciate it. All right. Love all you guys. See you next time, everybody.
You've been listening to Birds 365, the destination for the passionate Eagles football fan who bleeds green. If it's Eagles football, we're talking about it. Debate, inside the locker room, and guests that are some of the greatest football minds from around the region. We hope you enjoyed the show. We know we had a blast. Make sure to like, comment, and subscribe, and we'll be back soon. But in the meantime, hook up with us on social media at JAKIB Sports. See you next time on Birds 365.